Welcome to our news section at the top of the show, the Hebrew Review. Jacob, what are you guys up to?
Today, ladies and gentlemen, I have an electric lighter.
Oh my God, yeah.
You use a lighter, but you run out of fuel, you throw it away, you buy a new one. It's a bit stupid. So I found on the Amazons in the forest an electric barbecue lighter.
Oh boy.
It's got a little flexible neck here. I'm waving it around. And it looks like a baby cattle prod.
Oh.
But also kind of like an anal prod.
Bill, I wonder now if you might be flammable.
Yeah, let's check it out. Do it on my forearm. Let's...
Oh boy.
Look, there's two little black spots where it burned my hair.
It looks like a snake bite.
Now, for the record, Bill really was just zapped with the little.
It actually wasn't as I'm not worried about the electric shock. It's like I've been burned before, and that's the worst. But that wasn't so bad.
What if it actually lit your arm on fire, though?
Well, I don't think I'm that flammable.
Then we would know he's a witch.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Jacob, for the Hebrew Review. Lisa,
I didn't even score it. I give it a 5 out of 6 points on the Star of David. It's a literal 6-point rating system.
Yes.
Lisa, you're the one from California, so that's the bastion of diversity.
Yep.
We need a Muslim friend so we can have a radical Islam section.
So we're converting you.
Well, no. Well, you just need to go go find them, and we'll fly them in. They can talk about flipping their skateboard or whatever, and then Jake, you need to get in contact with a survivalist Mennonite so that we can have the Amish Paradise section.
My God.
Okay.
Except it's the Amish pair of dice section.
Now, can I also
What is
have
that?
a
Because we're
little?
a video game podcast, but they don't play video games, so they play board games.
Now, can I have like a
dice.
10-minute thing called the Commie Corner also?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Wow.
Yes.
All right, so
Approved.
Are there people
Cool.
we need to cater to?
Cool.
Do we talk about class struggle?
That's on next week's episode.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
I didn't do well in Calc 2
That's
in college.
Exactly what I was going
Okay.
for.
Welcome, everybody, to another installment of Two Guns, No Ammunition. We are so glad to have you here. I'm Billy Two Guns. We are No Ammunition. We're going to go around the room, do a quick mic identifier. To all our fans, your favorites are on. Dad, Lisa's back, okay? And
Loves you.
pretty stoked. Okay, so I'm Big Billy, and I put a drill bit through my thumb 2 days ago.
Yester 2 days. I like it.
Yesterday.
I am Genevieve, and I can't believe I haven't shared this yet, but I actually got to meet and take a selfie with Gritty. So,
What?
yeah.
I'm
Yep.
Lisa. That disturbs me, and I'm back from my 2-month hiatus.
My name is Gilgamesh, and I am a god, so you should all bow before me.
Okay,
Swolgamesh?
interesting.
Yes, Swolgamesh only.
His name is Frank,
Yeah.
and he's fresh out of repairs, and someone fucked up. I'm Jake, and it was me. I fucked up. I'm sorry, Frank. I mean Gilgamesh.
It's okay, Enkidu.
Gilgamesh.
Wow, some antiquity throwbacks, some deep throwbacks.
Some deep throatbacks.
Most people forget all of the love scenes between those two, but they were definitely
Butt
butt-fucking each other.
buddies.
Who was?
Enkidu and Gilgamesh.
Who's in Keto?
Jake.
his boy.
And Frank is
Yeah, his
Gilgamesh.
boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if you guys are familiar, whenever somebody on the podcast goes on a trip or has a big life change, they usually we open with that.
But in this example, we don't give a shit. Just kidding.
Actually,
Let's just jump into another topic.
Liesler, you've been jet setting for months. Tell us what that's been like. You've been going to different farms around at sea and sea farms.
Sea farms.
Okay.
Yeah. I pronounce it the other way, so the farm of sea.
Yeah.
So I
So
think,
weird.
did you guys talk about the Zion trip?
Yeah.
Back in
Yeah, we
May?
did.
Okay, so I was on that also. And then one day after I got back from that trip, I went to Arizona for 5 weeks. So I was in the middle of nowhere, Arizona.
Selling drugs.
Yep. At a hospital.
As you do.
Selling drugs to the people at the hospital. So it was actually really cool. I was there for 5 weeks. I was living literally behind the hospital, which was great. My commute was a 2-minute walk.
Wow, that's cheating.
So aside from just working every day, I got some Fridays off, which was nice. So I did a lot of traveling and hiking on my time there. So the several places I went to Petrified National Forest.
I did a report on that in 3rd grade, and
my God,
I
you
love it
did?
ever since.
Oh,
Tell me
I'm
about
not
it.
sure.
All the
Please
rocks
describe.
are the same as then, Bill.
Well, people have been stealing them.
They
Why?
have. Yep.
So
What is this place?
The Petrified Forest it's a bunch of old redwoods.
I think there's a few different species. I actually didn't read all the brochures.
A bunch of old trees that toppled over, and then they fossilized.
Yep.
So they look like trees, but they're made of minerals.
Huh. Cool.
Yeah, so I read a little bit about it, and I think the way that it happened was there was a river that used to be in what is now all desert, and they somehow got buried under the silt, and then over time it was replaced by the minerals that were in there. So now there's just, it's really weird, like a stump of wood, right, with like the clean cut ends, it just kind of broke like that. So you just see like weird rock stumps everywhere.
That's so cool.
There was one really cool one. It was one of the big logs that you could go to. So it wasn't a trail that you were able to hike to, but my mommy came to visit me there and we went together.
You have a
and
mother?
I have a mother. Yeah. I mean,
I
that's
thought
what
you reproduced asexually.
yeah, we do, but she was the one that raised me. So I have to, the mother
gotcha.
unit.
Cultural mother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
parental unit,
Like
female.
adoptive mothers.
Number
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we hiked through like a riverbed. So there wasn't a trail or anything. They just kind of give you a semi map and they're like, here's some points you should look at because that's where you need to turn. So we walked up there and then you come up like a little embankment. And then there's just this really long, like 20-foot petrified log that's just sitting there. It's really weird. Because you'll see like a lot of them are just broken up pieces of the log that you see around. But sometimes there's just like a big ass piece of rock stump. And it's really weird to see in the middle of the desert.
Did you take any? Did you bring any back for us?
No, I'm sorry.
No, I'm glad you didn't, and I want to comment on this
True.
because I don't like to be highfalutin elitist or anything, but on this I will take a hard stance. If you're taking, I won't even call it stealing. I mean, it is.
It's stealing.
But if you're going to be a poop head and take some of this petrified forest, I know right now there's a lot of it, but you got to remember what the Americans thought when there were a lot of buffalo and they were just blasting them left, right, and center. The buffalo used to stretch from one horizon to the other. We could never kill all the buffalo, but then guess what?
We did.
We did. So we can't steal all the petrified forest. Guess what we can? Here's the thing. You are a little meat sack, a blip in the river of time, and I understand that everything seems really important in your life, and it should, right? Your life is important to you and the people around you. But guess what? Leave that fucking rock there. You're not important enough to steal a rock from the river of time. It could be there for another 5,000 years, but if nerds like you keep stealing rocks, it's going to go away and ruin it for everybody. So do me a favor. Play with your own rocks in your pants if you have them, you know?
And if you don't?
If you don't, you can buy some to play with, but leave the petrified rocks alone, okay? Thank you.
You can also buy, I presume legally, petrified rock art.
I mean,
and
they sell it
furniture.
in the gift shops, like they have polished petrified rocks, but I'm sure it's an allotted amount per year that they
are allowed to take, probably.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is a crime to poach it.
Yeah,
But I could be
just
wrong.
like if you really need something hard that you enjoy, you know, elephant ivory, okay? Like it's renewable. There's plenty of elephants. Go get that.
Oh boy.
No sanctions against that practice whatsoever.
I mean, just go to China.
I will say there was lots of signs that said, do not take the rocks.
Okay.
So
So
everywhere you look.
did you like,
What if you can't?
is it,
leave?
okay, can you please describe the scene to me? Is it like it used to be a rolling hill or is it just like a flat fucking desert?
No. So it's all desert now. Not like cactus desert. It's high desert still.
What is
does that
that?
mean?
So high desert is, so where I was actually staying in Arizona was at almost 7,000 feet elevation. So it's a lot of like sagebrush, not a lot of cactus, although there is a few here and there, but it's not like saguaros every 5 minutes, right?
What the fuck is a saguaro?
Saguaro. You know when someone does the
They're the
cactus
best
pose
cacti.
and your arms are out and then your angles and your big tall cactus.
That's
That's
The cactus
It
you've
is
seen in
saguaro.
every Roadrunner cartoon.
Yeah.
That's that. But there's none of that there. It's really mostly sagebrush. There's actually some pine trees and stuff. So
it's the last story I'll share in the middle of your story. I'm sorry, but it's so dumb because it's so pre-smartphones. My stepdad went into the Air Force in the 80s or whatever, early 90s, and he has a picture of him traveling out west for some reason, standing next to a cactus, a saguaro, and squirrel, and he's standing next to. They're big as fuck, by the way.
They're huge,
and you can see his one foot is covering his other foot, and he goes, "Ha, this is a pretty funny picture." And he goes, "You know why I'm standing like that?" And I say, "Surely I don't." And he goes, "Well, I was driving out west and I decided the first one of those cactuses I saw, I was going to walk up to it and kick it." And that's exactly what I did. And a needle went right through my shoe and stuck me in my toe. Oh. So my toe hurts in this picture. That's what people did before the internet.
And we're surprised you're putting lighters on your skin.
That's what people still do.
Yeah, people still do it.
And it's
with the aid of the internet.
I fell into a cactus once.
How?
It was not a saguaro. It was a prickly pear.
Okay.
I went to go take a piss off the side of a trail, and when I went back down, it was like really slippery. Not from the piss.
Mm-hmm.
Your lubrications?
Yes. I slipped and I was like trying to catch myself. I didn't actually fall over, but I got really close and I like stumbled and I like ran into a cactus with my one shoulder and my shirt was filled with cactus needles.
Was that when we went out there?
Yep. Uh-huh. Yeah. And now then I had a shirt that was just I had to like take it off and like put a different one on because it was full of cactus.
The prickly pear was when your girlfriend had shaved like 6 days ago. And it was just coming back.
It's a different prickly pear.
Okay. Lisa, please continue.
I really hope he didn't run his shoulder into that.
So you... Oops.
I was just falling.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
How can I ever repay you?
Oh my God. All right. So there were saguarios all around.
No, there was no saguaros.
There weren't any sicarios?
No.
You lived in a hovel made of saguaros.
I actually lived inside of a cactus.
Okay.
That was my house.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, it was high desert, and were there trails everywhere that you went all over?
So, well, at Petrified National Forest, there's obviously some trails there. Some trails. But a lot of it's just kind of open, flat desert.
Mm-hmm.
But you could see in some of the rocks, it wasn't just completely flat. There were some cliffs and stuff, and also a lot of canyons, lots of canyons. So flat and then goes down.
Here's a question, and listeners, stick with me. This isn't turning into a xenophobic question. I read about the national parks out west every once in a while on Reddit, and a lot of the comments are there are visitors from other countries who don't read the signs and they stomp all over, and the parks are very, very full, even if they're following the rules. Did you run into, was it a lot of were there a lot of people, a lot of Americans?
So,
a lot of
people.
Well,
it just sounds funny in the context of
there was two different things because I also went to Arches National Park, which I will talk about after I talk about Petrified. But at Petrified, it was empty.
Wow.
There was like nobody there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of the, quote, tourists that were there seemed to be a lot of people who were driving through the West. There was a lot of U-Hauls I saw, so I think a lot of people drive and they kind of drive through and stop. So those were a lot of the people that I saw. It wasn't like big buses of tourists, but Petrified as a whole was actually quite empty, which was nice.
So, Bill, generally from what I have heard about the national, because I love the national parks, the ones that are the only ones that are really like that are Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, and Yosemite.
Oh, okay.
Because those are the most like by far the most popular ones.
Yeah.
So when people come from other countries specifically to go to those three parks.
Gotcha. And in the context, now that you mention in the context in which I'm reading about these experiences, it's like they're in, I guess it's Yellowstone, and the geysers, the super boiling hot geysers are everywhere, and they're like, somebody else fell in and it boiled off all their meat, and they're like, yeah, well, when I was there was somebody from another country, and tried to tell them to get out, and we couldn't understand each other.
The last time that I
not get out of being in a zone, like get out of the geyser zone. Like there are signs that don't go
For
here.
your safety, please leave the U.S.
Go back to your country.
This is just a warning.
The biggest one that I remember seeing when I went to the Grand Canyon was the amount of Russian tourists that there were. Yeah, huge. There were like 5 tour buses filled with Russians that got to the Grand Canyon when I got there. They're invading.
There were, I mean, when we were just in Zion, there were loads and loads of tourists also.
Yes.
But I didn't see anyone being like particularly stupid.
No.
You mean foreign?
But it was also, we went on a very unpopular time due to the weather.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Are there hot parts of Russia? Because that must have been like walking on the sun for them.
The Grand Canyon?
Yeah.
Well, actually, when I went there, this was like 10 years ago, actually, when I was actually at the main national park, like main part of the Grand Canyon. It was still May, but it was, I don't know, 45 degree. We got snowed on.
No shit.
Yeah, because it's up there. Like Lisa said, that part of Arizona is up in elevation. It's the rim of the Grand Canyon is like 6,500 feet in elevation or something like that. Well, I mean, the bottom is not quite at sea level, and the canyon is a mile deep.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And there is, I forget the name of it now, but I did some looking into Russia in like, I don't know, middle school or something. There is a city there that, there's a town, I should say, in Russia that I think has the highest variance in temperature on average throughout the year. Like the lowest lows to the highest highs. Like, it definitely like cracks like 110.
God damn, dude.
In summer, and I think it plumbs to like -20 or some shit or lower. It's been years. So I don't remember the name of the city or the exact parameters.
Probably one in like the like southern Ural Mountains or something like that.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
like in the steppes of Asia.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
So yes, not very many, but
Interesting. So you hiked, you looked at rocks?
I did look at rocks. There was a lot of rocks to look at. It was weird because when I went, I kind of figured that you'd pretty much see only the rocks around the trails and it was a lot more condensed in areas. No, you're just kind of driving down. The park is, I don't remember how many miles, maybe 15 miles long. And it's just kind of, it's a longer vertical park as opposed to just being a like more wide area. And you just kind of drive down the one road there. And you just kind of see them along the side of the road. It was weird. It was really weird. So... but actually going back to your question about what it used to be, there was the dinosaurs used to live there, by the way. It used to be like an Amazon jungle.
Hell yeah.
In the whatever dinosaur period they were in. But obviously it's not like that anymore. It's all desert. But there used to be a big river. There used to be thick jungle. It was weird. But not anymore, obviously. So now it's just the trees left. But it wasn't my favorite park, because I do love the national parks and I have a dream to go see all of them. But I'd probably put it at like a 6 out of 10, only because the rocks were so cool. Other than that, it was just kind of desert.
I mean, that's a pretty high score for a desert with cool rocks in it. I mean, let's be real.
But they were very cool rocks.
Were there any iguanas running around?
Oh God, yeah. So I saw, they're not iguanas, but they're collared lizards. And I saw one.
Wait, the kind that have like the
No,
little...
that's the draconian lizard or something like that, yeah.
All right.
The one that runs on water?
Yeah.
Or the basilisk lizard runs on water. There's one that has like the neck flaps.
Are there both? Or is it like multiple types?
I don't know, but I didn't see that one.
Okay.
I saw a collared lizard, and he was maybe the size of a foot long, including his tail, and he was as green as the Xbox game cartridge.
No
oh my
shit.
gosh, like the
He was
neon
bright green. I saw him for like a split
Mountain Dew
second,
green.
but it was so cool. That was the one lizard I saw. That was actually cool.
So you saw other lizards, just
I
not
saw other
nearly as-
lizards, not as cool as him. He was cool. So that was Petrified Forest. And then there were some hiking trails around where I was living in Arizona, which was cool. So I did a couple of those, just kind of scenic in the area. Everything was really far apart. The closest civilization was the 45-minute away Walmart in what I wouldn't even classify as a city, but a large town. Because I was in the middle of nowhere. I cannot emphasize that enough.
Oh, wait, so the hospital and where you stayed, like, was it just like a few people lived out there, or?
No, well, kind of, because the little quote town that it's right next to is really just a bunch of houses because this is on one of the Indian reservations out there. So it's.
You were on the res.
I was on the res. Living on the res. Yeah. So the hospital caters to the natives there who live on the res, and I think off the res too. But so it's really in the middle of nowhere, and people drive like half an hour easy to go to the hospital.
What was the state of the hospital?
It was actually, they had renovated some of it not too long ago, so it was actually in pretty good looking shape. It was pretty small, and it had a lot of outpatient primary care clinics, so it wasn't just like a main hospital. The actual inpatient side of it was quite tiny. So a lot of it was just, that's where people went and got their primary care, dentists, eye care, like regular clinics and stuff like that. So that was primarily what it was. So that was interesting. But it was a pretty tiny hospital, really just in the middle of nowhere, and people just have to drive to get there to go see their doctors.
So, and you were out there because, in case the listeners haven't heard or don't recall, you finished your schooling to be a pharmacist.
Yeah, so I've done my 3 years of classes, and this is my last year where I'm just working at different sites and pharmacies.
Now, did you do an undergrad and then pharmacy school?
I did. So I did my 4-year bachelor degree.
Yes, that's how we met.
In what?
Biology.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes. So, yes. And then this is a 4-year professional doctorate degree.
You're going to be Dr. Leisler Salad Fingers?
Leisler,
Yes.
God damn.
I know, right?
Are you single?
Single and ready to mingle. No.
Nice. So
That seems about right.
No.
Lisa, just so you guys know, Lisa is a gamer girl. She will take baths with water, so you can have that for free.
I do take baths with water.
Additionally,
Sell that.
she really likes nice guys, so go ahead and get on that, right? If you're nice to her, she will do the sex with you, right?
I mean, I owe it to them. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm obligated.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like
Seems
a
about
contract.
right.
Yeah.
Someone finally gets it. Great.
I know, really. Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah. So that was the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in the middle of nowhere. But then I also went to one of my top 5 favorite parks, I think, because I've been to like 6 or 7, so that means a lot, right? Arches National Park. Very
Arches?
cool. Arches.
Arches.
Archers. Yeah, like the show.
Archers?
Archer. Yep, just a bunch
Okay.
of bow and
Like
arrows.
someone shooting a bow and arrow.
That's what happens when you show up. You got to zigzag.
Yeah.
Not like what's his face from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just like on the grounds
that
of like
Tommen?
a Renaissance
Rickon.
fair.
Rickon?
Didn't zigzag.
Yeah, Rickon.
Didn't serpentine.
Yeah, you gotta serpentine that
Zigzag.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Arches National Park. That was pretty cool. That's up in Utah. And it has a lot more mountainous things. So it's not just flat desert, but it's still pretty high desert. So there's a little bit more cactus, but still kind of sagebrushy. But you're just kind of driving around and there's just these giant arches everywhere. Because apparently the way they were formed, geography lesson, boys and girls, it was carved out through water. So there was like a bunch of narrow crevices between that were carved out. And then eventually over time, some of the under part weared away. And then all that was left was the arch part. That was pretty cool to see.
So it was probably softer material below the material that ended up being the span of the arch.
Somehow, yeah. But it was cool. There was a lot of different ones all in this one area. That's why they made it the national park, I guess.
That's
right?
cool. And
Yeah. So there were some smaller ones. There were some really big ones. I did go see Delicate Arch, which is the one that's on all the Utah license plates. That was very
Oh.
cool.
Like,
It's
is it-
just one of the more famous arches,
Okay.
Delicate Arch. You have to hike up to go see it. You can't just see it from any of the roads. So you have to go hike up and see it, but it's very nice looking. It has a nice background and it's
Can you cross
Beautiful.
over any of the arches?
no, you're not allowed to walk in any of them.
Okay. Can you walk
So
under any
they
of them?
protect
That
them. You
wasn't the
can go
question.
through some of them.
Could you walk over them?
I could.
Could you walk under them?
Yes, you could go through them. Some
That
of
would
them.
make me scared.
Walking under it?
Not really.
I mean,
It's
they've
cool
been
though.
they've been standing for 100 million years, but today is the day it'll fall on
Well,
my
that's why they
noodle.
don't let you walk on them.
That's why what? They won't let
they
you walk.
Walk on them.
Yeah.
When you were out there, did you see any of those like gigantic rocks stacked on like 3 pebbles by the sands of
Well,
time?
yeah. One of the formations at Arches
wobbling.
is not an actual arch. It's called Balancing Rock, and it's literally what it sounds like. It's this small little column, and there's this big ass boulder balancing on top.
Any
It was weird.
what?
That didn't fall either,
But
and you can't walk on that one either.
why? Why?
Why does that exist?
Did you try blowing on
Kind
it?
of the same thing, like the erosion, and I guess everything around it eroded, and then rock.
There was a story a couple of years ago. Every once in a while, like the news will pick up stories about people acting a fool in national parks, and like some guy knocked over one of those rocks that he estimated had been balanced for like 60 million years, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Tony," and he pushed it over. Like, Tony's a douche. I think he fucking carved it.
That's always like at work. Like we do some pretty complicated stuff at work, and we do like you would think that a big company like I work for has, you know, some big like program to do it, and it's like, oh no, yeah, Frank did that in a spreadsheet. Like, like, oh yeah, there's this rock over here, it was really cool, but then Tony came along and you know he ruined it. Yeah.
Hey, why didn't anybody push this rock over?
Yeah.
Fuck this rock.
Yeah, but actually, now talking about tourists and people doing weird stuff. So Petrified didn't have all the tourists. Arches had all of the tourists. Now.
People with fanny packs and cameras.
No, not those tourists.
Or
the bus
you.
loads of now it just happened to primarily be of the Asian descent tourists.
So, and they didn't have fanny packs and cameras?
No, it wasn't like that kind. It was God, it was so weird. So I'm like sitting there waiting for the other half of the group of people that I went with to get done being slow and looking at things. And this busload of tourists, they all step off the bus, and there's this one lady. I thought she was famous at first because she's in like traditional Chinese or whatever. I don't know if she was Chinese or not. Whatever traditional garb. I'm like, what are you doing in this national park? It's like 90 degrees out, and you're wearing this like silk gown. And she has like 3 or 4 people standing around here holding umbrellas for her, like parasols for the sun.
She has people.
So I thought she was a famous person. So I tried to get pictures of her so I could reverse Google it. I think she was just old and people were holding umbrellas for her. But it was weird. And they just kind of all stand there in the parking lot, just like looking at the arches. And there's little trails that you can walk up to these ones where I was at.
That's fine.
Yeah, you just pull off the main road. There was a parking lot, and then there's a couple little, not even half-mile, quarter-mile trail just to up some of the arches that were right there. No, they're just standing in the parking lot, surveying. Like, what are you doing? Like 30 of them. I don't understand. The people. Okay. So Frank and I have discussed this a lot, and we primarily see it at national parks and other places where you can drive around to go see the different things in that area. There's the people that will go and actually get out of their cars and go hike, like we do. Or there's the people that literally just drive around, get out, go 2 feet from their car, take a picture, and get back in and drive. And that's all they do there.
Like, why
I don't get it.
Why would you?
I don't know. It
the
bothers
correct answer
me.
is both, right? Like what we did at Zion. Like,
But we specifically took like an hour or whatever to just literally to drive that.
yeah.
But there are some people who literally only go to the national parks and do that, and then that's like their trip.
Hey, can I
would've
give you
been-
some wisdom? Another piece of wisdom my stepdad shared with me one time. Some people like green beans and some people don't, you know?
That's
There's some people
sagely
right
advice.
and some people who are wrong.
Sorry, you were going to say something. I didn't mean to.
It wasn't that important. I forget.
It's important to me, buddy.
It's not important to me.
Nothing's important to you, Bill.
His shirt's important. Jake's wearing his fish shirt again. I cannot
It's such a good shirt.
overstate how fucking litty this shirt is.
I have one that is very similar to that. Actually, I have one that is very similar to that. I also have one that has little mini saguaros on them.
Saguaro
He's
shirt.
no.
like Jake, okay? We get it, all right? He's cool.
I want to point out
It's
that Jake
desperate,
got
right?
that shirt because I got my shirt at Cape May.
Doesn't it suck when you have the idea, but the
He
second
does it
person
better
does
than
it
me.
Way better.
I know. It's
That's
really
just the
disappointing.
nature of like technological change.
I
right?
know. It really is a better shirt than mine,
Shirt
too.
technology.
It's very unfortunate.
So Lisa,
Fashion, baby.
I like mine,
Y'all
but his
putting
is
way more
better.
stock in this than me. I'm just wearing a fucking sweet shirt, man. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Leisler,
Full stop.
you were
Makes
out.
him so cool.
You were out
That's all
under
it
the
takes.
arches. Were there golden arches there, aka McDanks?
McDonald's.
Oh,
AKA
Yeah,
people peeing
yes.
on walls.
yeah, no, there was. There weren't any in the little town that I was in. But I think there was 1 or 2 in the
Did you eat nuggies?
larger. No, you know what? I didn't get any nuggies while I was there.
Wait, did you guys see this hot new? There's big news. First off, Burger King
sells
tacos.
No, they have trash nuggets.
They sell tacos.
No, Burger King has trash nuggets, and anyone who
10
thinks
for
that they're
$1.50 though.
No, trash. They're trash nuggets. No,
Trash
no,
nuggies.
Shots fired.
trash.
You need to expand. Why are they trash nuggies?
Because they taste bad. They're not crispy on the outside at all. The
What?
breading somehow
They're, like,
is
soft.
part. They're weird.
Yeah.
And they have this weird like salt and pepper seasoning. And
Like they've been
like,
microwaved
like
for, like,
no. Like
30
if I
Yes.
now I'm a nuggie connoisseur, right? Like I love nuggies.
All about the nuggies.
All about the nuggies.
I'm gonna
like,
get you cards,
I
Brennan.
recently just procured some dinosaur nuggies last night. Yeah, real good. Burger King's air quotes chicken nuggets are trash. Trash nuggets. Like that's the explanation. That's it. Like they taste bad. The texture is all wrong. They got a weird shape.
Did you ever tell them? Did you ever give them this feedback?
I gave them
Tell the
feedback
nuggets
by
that they have all
never
these bad
going there
qualities.
again.
Obviously, McNuggies are the best, followed by Wendy's.
Really?
Yes. I'm not going to count Chick-fil-A because they have strips and bites, though both are better than...
The bites are small nuggies though.
I got to be real with you. Wendy's can, every once in a while I hear about they've got some quality product, but I see them like an Arby's. Like they're a place that exists, but I'm not going, you know?
You know, it's
You
funny.
should try.
Like, what was it?
Bill, you would like it. They have a thing. It's a deal. $5. You get... It's a tiny burger, but you get a burger, nuggets, fries, and a drink for $5.
Nuggies.
The Wendy's Biggie Bag. It's a good deal.
We got to try these BK tacos. If they've got the gluten free, then
Now, are they filled with their nuggies?
I
I
don't
can't even call them nuggies. They're trash nuggies.
they're turds. They're soft
Yeah.
turds.
Thank
Chicken
you.
turds.
Yeah.
So
Chicken nerd.
was that all of it for the arches, or did you have more to tell us about it? Please do.
Well,
if you
there
do.
was
I
there
have a
was
chicken
one specific hike I want to talk about.
Okay.
That if anybody is thinking about going to Arches, which I think everybody should, because I think it's not one of the, Yellowstone, Yosemite of the national parks. I think it's a tier underneath that. We went and you have to pay, I think it was like $10 for your group to get a permit to go, just because they want to make sure they know who's going in, and just in case you get lost, they want to know who to go find. It was called I can't remember the name. I think it was like the Devil's Furnace or something furnace.
That sounds real.
And it was just kind of a larger area. There was a bit of a trail that you could follow, that they have a guided ranger-led tour that you go through, so you can follow that path, or you can just go explore the area. And it was really cool because it was a bunch of just narrow canyons that you just kind of follow around between all the big walls. So think of like an accordion, just like the little, like that's kind of how it looks. It looks like they just took an area and scrunched it together, and there's all these little paths that you can just go around and explore. A lot of them are dead ends, but some of them you can just go around and look at. It was gorgeous in there. It was so cool. But we ended up following the guided hike because we didn't want to be in there for like 5 hours. So there was just the group of people I went with.
Okay.
I went with some of the pharmacists that were there and some of the dentists also.
Bunch of nerds.
Dentists and pharmacists hanging out?
Yeah.
What are dentists? Listen, if you're a dentist listener, I don't mean to disparage you, but you gotta have I think to look at teethers all day, you gotta be a little bit of a different breed. Were they a different breed? You know what I'm
They
saying?
were nice.
Yeah.
They were cool. I like them.
Crazy? They have crazy eyes?
No.
Were they different? They were nice.
No, they were cool. No, I didn't see any crazy eyes come out.
Well, they
were
have
chill.
super side,
No, they were chill.
the highest rate of super sides.
Really?
Right?
Dentists?
Yeah, of all
thought that was-
doctors.
Really?
That doesn't seem
No,
right.
that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Is it?
Super side?
Super sign. It's
When
painless.
you and hero, you unalive? Yeah.
When you are asked to respond.
Okay, so you were hanging out with tooth
Yeah.
doctors and pill pushers.
Yeah. My people.
Yeah.
And so we all went as a group in there, and we just followed the little trail thing, which wasn't so much a trail as every once in a while, either like on the ground or on a rock somewhere, would be a tiny ass little brown arrow sign that you just had to kind of go find and then just kind of follow them on the way out. So it took about an hour and a half to go through on that trail, but you could literally spend all day in there.
That's awesome.
It was really cool. And sometimes you'd have to go through much more of an actual little canyon and actually climb on you had to climb in some places. Not like rock climbing, but you had to definitely scramble over boulders and such. So it was very cool. Very, very cool. It was my favorite hike. I think it was called the Devil's Furnace. It's probably not the name of it. Something Furnace.
The Devil's Dutch Oven.
Because there's the Devil's Playground, which is one of the trails. And then I think this is the Something Else Furnace.
Who named these places? A fucking edgelord 13-year-old?
So I don't know. Like Devil's Playground.
Yeah.
Oh, Fiery Furnace. That's what it was
Fiery
called.
Furnace.
There was
Oh,
Fiery
boy.
Furnace and Devil's Playground. But Fiery Furnace, you have to pay a little bit of money to get your permit so they can come find you if you're lost.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely worth the money. My favorite hike that we did there. Very cool.
So, those are the 2 national parks you went to?
That was it.
And how long were you out there? For 6 weeks?
5 weeks.
5 weeks.
5 weeks.
So, as part of your being a pharmacist, you need to rotate through 3 different assignments, is it?
7.
7 assignments?
So I do like 7 5-week rotations this entire year.
And the purpose of that is just see how everybody else does it?
Well, it's to get experience, and then in order to actually get licensed, depending on the state, you have to have a certain number of hours that you've accumulated working. So really, it's like a licensure thing / gaining actual experience. It's like doing, like once doctors actually graduate from med school, they have to do residencies and such. That's kind of like...
Do they rotate that frequently? 5 weeks seems like 7 5-week stints. I'm surprised they don't just send you somewhere for 6 months.
No, because they want you to, there has to be certain requirements for the types of sites that you're at. So it has to do one hospital one where you're just in the central pharmacy filling stuff and verifying orders.
Is that what you were doing in Arizona, or?
No, in Arizona I was doing ambulatory care, so I was working in the pharmacist-run clinics that they have there.
Oh, okay.
Ambulatory, like you just sort of amble
Yeah, like
in?
outpatient.
Oh.
Yeah, you had to hobble in.
Just
It's only for
amble
limping
around.
people.
You're practicing your witchcraft.
Yes. Yeah, I was. So they had like an asthma clinic, an anticoagulation clinic, like a pediatric clinic.
What would you
All of them.
what would you subscribe for my Asmar? Shucks to my Asmar?
No, there's some essential oils though that I can hook you up with.
Anybody get that reference? Anybody
No.
get the shucks to your Asmar? It's Lord of the Flies.
Oh.
That's what-
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
All right. So and you're on your
That was my first one actually.
holy fuck.
I have one more week on my second one.
And that's around here, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then are you going to Alaska or something?
No, that would have been the other location besides Arizona had I gotten that one.
Yeah, that would have been fucking
But
cool.
I actually put that at I really, really wanted to go to Alaska. But then I found out a bit more about it, and you have to take like a bush plane to get where you are, and you're not near any of the national parks. Little tiny like propeller plane is bush plane.
the ones that crash
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And also the only available rotation time slots that were able to go to Alaska are like February through like April. So like winter.
Yeah.
So I was like,
you
no.
get to go up here, maybe die, and be very depressed.
Yep. So, but I'm really glad I did the Arizona one. It was actually really nice weather. It never got higher than 85 degrees.
Is it really a dry heat?
Yeah.
It's
No
different?
humidity.
Yeah.
Like, because I didn't realize until I did some reading that, like, the swamp that is the eastern seaboard is
very
not
different.
normal.
No,
It
like
is
in
not.
like growing up in LA, that's what it was a dry heat. Like there's never humidity. It's just really hot, but it's not a swamp. You breathe air, not water.
All right.
Yeah. But arches, so just to recap,
What does it
arches I
kill
would
you,
give
makes you stronger, right?
Yeah. And
or
angrier.
cripples you and turns you into a vegetable. So arches I would give a 7 out of 9.
Oh, okay. We're changing the scale.
7 out of 9 collared lizards.
Uh-huh.
Petrified was a 6 out of 10
Wait,
rocks.
was that 7 out of 9? Was that a deep Star Trek Voyager reference?
No.
Just say yes. Just say yes. It's fine.
Because that super hot half Borg lady that they
7 of 9.
7 of 9, dude.
Wait, what is that? Her name?
Yeah,
her
that's her
character.
name
That's
because she
not a
went
name.
Borgish.
That's like her litter
That
number.
sounds awful. Borgish.
Yeah.
The Borg don't have names.
Also,
They're assigned unit
she was a
numbers.
fucking smoke show.
That's also yes.
And they're like, I think the running joke is that's why they put her on the show. But they're like, this is Star Trek, so we're actually going to give her a good story, but she's the only member of the crew who had like skin tight velour like uniform, and they're like, yeah, she can wear this, that's fine.
She's Borg, it's all right.
The thing that I appreciate, one of the things I appreciate the most about the early Star Treks is that there were uniforms with short skirts, and you're like, oh, God, it's just for the ladies, right? No. Some of the men wore them too.
Wait, really?
Yes.
I have not seen that.
So, as an aside, I have a plan to begin to normalize skirt wear.
I mean, there's the
For
kilt.
men.
For men. Well, okay, here's the thing, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. People wear kilts, but I currently in the U.S. and I currently don't want to be the guy who wears the kilt. I don't want to be the kilt guy.
You don't want to culturally appropriate the kilt.
I'm not concerned about that. It's like right now the guy who wears the kilt to an event, he's like got something going on. Like you're like,
he has
oh,
a certain personality.
yeah,
that you can pinpoint.
he's
Like
like
Ren
that's
Fair
the
all the
kilt.
time.
he's like
Yeah.
doing something, or I don't know.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
It's
Probably wants attention.
yes.
Right.
Probably.
So my plan is, if I get nobody at work listens to this podcast because I haven't told them about it. I'm on a 6-month contract to hire, and I would like to be hired. Once I'm hired, then I'll put in this plan. I'm going to research some of my ancient people's wear, right? So I'm going to go to the Poles and the Lithuanians.
Those
and
are my people too.
the Neanderthals.
Do you wear pierogies?
They got to be gluten free. And I looked at them, and they're like, they have these like dress wear that's like a long coat.
Yes, it's
Is
a
it
long
like a-
pierogi.
Is it a
Yeah,
tunic?
a long pierogi.
Pierogi.
Well,
Long pierogi, Frank.
here's the thing.
One giant pierogi.
I would eat that.
Here's my plan.
Yep.
I really want to be able to wear a skirt. Is there a word for that kind of like a? What would you call
Man
that
dress.
shit?
A tunic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
A banana
whatever.
pierogi.
I want to wear something without legs on it in the summer, but I'm going to start the play in the winter when it's cold, and I'll wear these long traditional Polish johns, and they'll be like, "What are you doing, silly Billy?" And I'll be like, "This is the clothes of my people. Don't appropriate me," or something. I
Bill,
don't
you know what you could do is you could start out with like traditional like monk robes, and then progressively just have them get shorter and shorter and shorter until everyone's like, "Oh, Bill's just wearing his robes," and like
every
you look
week
back in a
cut
year
off an
later,
inch.
it's like
Well, no, I want to do the thing. I want to normalize it through the winter because I'll be like, it's a coat, it's traditional. Don't give me a hard time. You hate my culture, if they push back.
Yep.
And then
they'll just try to send you back to where you
they'll
came
just
from.
be like, all right, see, they'll be like, all right, we're done. And then during the summer, I can just wear, like, because I could also do the other thing and be like, I'm like, I'm expressing my true self or whatever. But I don't want to, like, I'm in the corporate world, right? I still want to look professional. So I got to.
That's
Get your
going
dress
to be very
tunics out.
difficult to do
With a skirt.
wearing a dress.
Not with that attitude. Okay.
Unless I was, and I'm not even getting into it.
It has to be a business appropriate skirt. Like
Yes, you get like
in this
pinstripe.
style.
Yeah, I'm just going to make
A
my own
mild
clothes. I'm just
checker?
going to make my own damn clothes.
You
Okay.
have to.
So, dry heaves out there. You rotated. Do you know where your next assignments are going to be?
So my next two are actually at the same hospital I'm at now.
Okay.
You
Because
can
they're
stay at the same hospital? Just what, different pharmacies?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, doing different things in them. And
Okay.
then my next one after that is at a long-term care pharmacy.
Oh, you're going to love that.
Yeah. I actually hope it's interesting.
Sean, friend of the podcast, came on while you were away, and did he talk about working at the
I
old
actually
person
don't think
center?
He did very much.
No,
I think it was
it's
just the night before we were talking about it.
he works at a rural old person home, which I think is probably like long-term care.
It
Yeah.
depends. I mean, there's long-term care is different than just like a nursing home.
Okay.
Sometimes it depends on the level of actual care that they're
How's it
receiving.
different?
Well, it could be rehab or like brain injury cases.
Oh.
Not necessarily old
Yeah.
folks
Mm-hmm.
going senile, but
Yeah.
still like they can't take care of themselves.
Yeah, and they probably won't attack the pharmacist.
Yeah.
Sean
Well, and
gets
it's not
attacked.
like it's an on-site pharmacy necessarily. Usually it's companies who have contracts with multiples of them, and they're the ones who are reviewing all the charts and making adjustments to therapies and things like that. So it's a lot more decentralized than one would think.
So, my dad will be interested in this topic if you have an answer for it. Have you noticed any increased pressure or regulation surrounding the opiate stuff at pharmacies? Like, what have you, if you can talk about, I don't know if you signed an NDA or if there's HIPAA shit, but what's something you've noticed tied to it? What are they trying to do?
Not like in the past month or anything, but just over the past couple years since it's becoming much more of a problem that's talked about. Like just some examples, like there's just a lot more checking and verification of controlled prescriptions that come through, especially your controlled like Schedule 2 drugs. So that's like your Adderalls, oxycodones, things like that. Like now at the pharmacies I work at, there's an online database that will tell you if you type in someone's name and birth date, it'll show all the controlled prescriptions that they've filled under their name and birth date, whether or not they filled it through their insurance or they just paid straight cash for it. So that always has to get checked.
Is that a national database? Is it a corporate database?
No, not every state is connected, but most states, and especially the states around the Pennsylvania area, are all connected. So I can look up Jersey, Virginia, Massachusetts, Ohio, random states like that.
Yeah, so the states who are getting finger fucked with this opium problem. Yeah.
So like looking at that, like there's a lot more writing on like pharmacist license to make sure that, it's a legitimate prescription, making sure if anything looks weird that you're calling doctors. If you're working somewhere and someone comes in, you've never seen them before at your pharmacy and they're coming in from a doctor's office that's like an hour away for some oxys, it's like, what are you doing here? Why are you filling this here? Is this so there's a lot more regulation. There's a lot more push coming from the DEA and all the regulatory agencies now really trying to cut back on the prescribing of them, even in hospitals, trying to decrease their use inpatient as well as when you get discharged, trying to decrease the number of days or just decrease and going down from sending someone home on oxy to just, okay, we can just give you some Tylenol. You'll probably be fine.
You know what? It's a real shame that it's addictive and destructive, opiates, I mean.
And now there's all those lawsuits against all the big pharma companies that produced, especially oxy.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're getting sued left and right now. There's really big cases that are coming up that they're getting sued with.
It's a shame that there's such a downside because the effect of feeling no pain is an unbelievable boon. Like I've had in my life broken ribs and they prescribed me different opiates and
they work great. They're so good. It's not like but there is that downside.
One of them wasn't my favorite because it like each pill I would take it like every 6 hours. It gave me like 5 hours of relief. 2 hours I felt okay, but it mushed my brain, and then 3 hours I took a nap, and I was on it for months so I didn't get pneumonia because I had a broken rib, and I was very depressed. And then some other bone break.
Sounds like Percocet.
Some other bone break they gave me that stuff, and it just like pain I didn't even know I had went away. But I mean, fortunately for me, when I ran out, I was just like, all right, I'm done with this. Or I didn't even run out; I just stopped taking it. But that's how everything is in life, right? Everything that's good, it can't just be great.
You can tell it's different now because I once got prescribed Percocet for the flu.
Yeah, see, that's like a big problem and something that actually happens that they're really trying to cut back on now.
And like that's exactly one of the main problems. I'm sure that whatever doctor I had a quota that he was told if he reached that Purdue Pharma or something like that would send him on a massive fucking vacation.
Not even necessarily that, but even like, I want to say like even like 5 years ago, it was different. It's like, like we have this great pain medication. Like you're saying you're complaining of pain. Like here, fine, take a Percocet.
I didn't even ask
those
for
downsides,
it.
Everybody should be on the shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
but it was amazing. Like, I had the flu and I was miserable, and then I was given Tamiflu and Percocet, and all of a sudden I'm not miserable anymore. I don't care that I have a massive headache. Whatever. I felt like I could go run.
Yeah.
Because even if it hurt, I wouldn't notice.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too that's kind of becoming a problem that I've noticed with hospitals in trying to cut down on their use of these, especially pain narcotics is the main thing, is that hospitals now have certain like questionnaires and surveys that they have to give to everyone going through that get monitored by the Joint Commission which is like an overarching regulatory body for hospitals and things like
the
that.
Joint Chiefs of Staff, right?
Very similar. Has the word joint in it.
Okay.
Yep. Like especially looking at patients rating how well their pain was managed while they're in the hospital. So there may be all these doctors that are like, patients really don't need all this pain. But then on the other side, you may have people who are saying, like, you know, if whether or not they're drug seeking or not, saying, well, my pain wasn't managed very well. And now doctors are getting in trouble and hospitals are getting looked at. Well, why aren't you managing your patient's pain? It's like, well, we're trying to cut back on using all these strong narcotics. And then people, whether or not they actually are being managed well, are complaining that they're not getting what they want. Yeah. So it's like a fine balance between, and I watched a short documentary, I think, on this. It was like an ER doctor and several others that were talking about it, trying to say that they wanted to cut back, especially on these narcotic pain medications. But then they're also getting all these surveys and they're getting looked at from the hospital themselves. Like, well, why aren't your pain scores for pain management very high? It's going down. It's like, well, like, what do you want to do? Like, no one wants to get in trouble and being, you know, told that they're not managing their patients well. But it's like,
our main way of managing pain was this magic pill.
Yes.
And now we're sanctioning the magic pill. So
is it a surprise to anyone that it was those drug companies that lobbied the hospitals and the American Medical Association to include pain as, like, to include that as part of the care plan?
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
You know,
irony.
And this is one. I want to recognize a situation where the burden of finding the solution sort of falls on the little cog, the doctors. It's like, you know, on the business end, we need to keep our patients happy, but on the safety end, we can't just give them the stuff that makes their pain go away for sure. And it's like, well, listen, don't overprescribe it, but also keep them happy. Figure it out, nerd.
Yeah.
And like, it's just sort of a bummer. I mean, you know, we could get in all sorts of criticism of the system, but my heart goes out to like a lot of people involved.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are out there that have legitimate pain and clearly need these strong medications. Mm-hmm. And I feel really bad because I really try my best as someone who works in a pharmacy and is going to be a pharmacist in like the next year and a half, that there is still this stigma out there that people come in with these prescriptions and, like, you know, they don't want to get told they can't fill it because it looks shifty or anything. And, you know, people out there with legitimate prescriptions, legitimate reasons for it, never have issues filling it, never, you know, oh, I lost it and it's been like 2 weeks and they had like a month's worth. And, you know, they're like good patients, like they're always doing what they should be and no issues with it. And there's this stigma towards it. So people are, you know, being told they can't fill things or given all these issues just because there's this stigma and people are extra careful and just don't want to fill things because they just don't feel like dealing with it on like the pharmacy or doctor side, you know?
I'm hopeful that technology will really help alleviate this problem in the future. And I don't mean like it'll solve everything. I'm not one of those techno guys, but one of the downsides of like drug usage, a lot of people use, they're like, oh, you don't want to drive while intoxicated. Well, we're going to have self-driving cars in the next 100 years for sure. And, you know, it's not that long in human society, 100 years.
We're going to have them within the next 10.
Yeah. The other thing that I'm
5 maybe
hopeful for, but also very wary of, is this thing that Elon keeps saying he's going to work on. It's like a brain interface. He says he's going to increase the bandwidth of information into your mind. And I'm crossing my fingers that someday we will be able to put a helmet on my head and put a helmet on Lisa's head. And when I say, like, I'm in a lot of pain, she can feel what I'm feeling.
The empathy helmet, 3000.
Well, it's not even like, well, yeah, empathy will be really cool. I think it'll give people a lot of perspective in tough conversations. I think it'll show that people with different views are both often conversing in earnestness.
Wait, but I could literally walk a mile in your moccasins?
Yeah, and then, but the other thing is like real physical pain. It could be like, okay, let's turn it on, and then if you're like, how bad does it hurt? Instead on a scale from 1 to 10 that I don't even know how to fucking interpret, you're just like, ugh, my tum-tum's uncomfortable. But this isn't hard enough for...
Well, and I get your point, Bill, but it's still... Pain is weird because... you might be able to experience the exact same pain as someone else is feeling, but to you might think it's like a 4 out of 10, and that person might be saying, this is a 10 out of 10. I cannot stand anything worse. And you're sitting here feeling the exact same thing, but you're like, I could definitely take more. So that's why pain is hard, because even
it's
though...
still a data point, I think is what Bill's getting at.
It is, but...
One step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break.
Yeah.
Everything you say to me.
But that's the other thing, too, is like, pain is still difficult, because even if you can feel someone's pain, like, your interpretation of it, based on, like, how much pain you can manage, like, I don't know how they would ever be able to...
So we just gotta set the standard for pain, so, like, everyone has to get hurt the same amount.
Yeah.
I can see it now.
Yeah.
Doctors in white lab coats punching each other in the shoulder.
Yeah.
Little all kinds of meters.
Is this a 10?
Well, then they put on the brass knuckles. Just standardize on the punch.
I'm just looking forward to the day when you women, by the way, respect, can feel the pain of a nut shot, and then I can feel the pain of birth, so I can go, this isn't that bad, and then barf in pain and shit myself. All right, just so that we all get perspective. So, how have you enjoyed your I think we're coming to the end of the section. How have you enjoyed your rotation? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed them a lot. The only 2 that I've been on out of the 7. My second one is coming to an end. It's my last week coming up for that one. But I've really enjoyed staying at the same hospital, but it'll be a different position for my next 2. But I've really enjoyed it so far. It's definitely a change from going to class to working 40 hours a week on top of still having my other jobs. So that part has been very difficult and quite stressful, to be honest.
Let me tell you this.
But
I'll tell you this for free. Working 40 hours a week, when you're finally done, you're finally out there, is so much fucking easier than going to school ever was. I go to work, I do my work, I come home. And
you're being paid for it.
It is.
That's it.
oh, but that's
tomorrow.
the problem, is I'm paying to work 40 hours a week right now.
Yeah.
So that sucks.
You're paying for the experience.
So
Literally.
Yeah. I think we have a couple of minutes left, and I saved it for Frankenstein because I imagine you don't have a ton to say about this, but you have relocated your charging station. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
I did. I even added a second port for Leisler.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we don't need all the
Upgrades.
details, okay?
I do.
I think honestly, no, it's a great place.
Your ports.
It's just outside of town here, so I probably moved a total of 2 miles, if that. Yeah.
And yet you
But-
haven't been on the podcast. Why is that, Frank?
His mom came down.
Yeah, she was in
Why wasn't your mom
over a
on the
lot.
Podcast, Frank.
You know what? Honestly, she did ask me if she could at one point. What? Yeah.
Said no.
I
Yes.
would love if she came on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't think she realizes what it is.
It could be whatever she wants.
She should
I know.
definitely still be on the podcast.
Yeah,
I think.
Doesn't
she
matter.
did.
You
That's
can make
it's
it
really
anything.
funny that you have no. So she came down because we went to the shore, and from where I grew up, it's much further from the shore than here. So she came down and stayed the night before we left, and then she came back and stayed and hung out and all that good stuff. So it was nice, especially because she never really came down when I lived here all that much. She didn't want to encroach on my roommate's space. No offense, guys. I told her it was fine. I don't know why she was so weird about it.
We'd have given no shits.
I know, and I told her that, but she just is weird.
I mean, I get it, and thank you,
Yeah.
Lois. Appreciate it.
She does not listen.
Would not have been an encroachment.
Yeah. But now that I live, on my own with Lisa, and we have a guest room, it's like she's yeah, exactly.
I just want to throw this in there, not to garble your knob, but
Oof.
I knew a guy, a friend of a friend years ago, and he was kind of a shithead. Like when he dated women, he was shitty. Like he didn't hit him or anything. He was just a bad. I looked at this guy. I'm like, wow, you're kind of a scumbag, right? Like ghosting people and whatever. And then he would drink a lot and act a fool, and he would bust my chops. But he had a daughter. He was like a young father with a young daughter, and he was absolutely stupendous with her. And I've come to really enjoy him as a person, but I respected him and liked him from the very beginning because of how kind he was to his. He's just a stand-up dad. everything. His daughter came over, everything. And I don't have all those negative feelings towards you, Frank. Obviously, I get along with you and I like you a lot. But I continue to admire like the little snippets I get of the quality relationship that you have with your mom. So you're like, I'm like, hey, you gonna make it a podcast today? You're like, I don't know. My mom's here. Like, she might. I'm like, the fuck, good. Just hang out with your mom. It's so cool when people.
I love my mom.
Are cool to mom. And it's good. I give you my blessing. You know, Genevieve was like, what the fuck? Frank's not here because of mom, but I'm like,
bring mom along.
Yeah, that's good.
It's funny because she has mentioned in the past that she wanted to be on the podcast.
Has she heard the show?
No.
Ever?
Or do you think she knows how to?
That.
She would. I would have to download SoundCloud for her so that she could listen to.
You can watch on the browser.
Or we can
we're
go
on
to her.
YouTube
You
now.
also
too.
had to order things on Amazon.
Yeah, I'll put it this way. I even have to order things on Amazon for my mom. Like if she wants something, she can look at it on Amazon, but she hasn't yet figured out how to order it.
Oh no!
God.
So I have to order it for her.
How old is your mom?
She turns 60 in a month.
Aww,
Okay.
happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you something? Okay. So I was out at work at my new job, and we went to this Chinese restaurant, and there was like 17 of us, too big for one table. So we pushed two. Anyway, they kept moving people around to try to make us all fit. And I said to Ashok, I think his name was, I was like, why don't you sit next to me? Because this other guy is really large and we don't want two big dudes, me and some other broad-shouldered guy sitting next to each other. And I got bossed around by 4 different people, and they put me next to him, and then I made a face and moved back. So we got to a point where I was like, they're like, oh, do you not like your seat, Bill? I'm like, I don't care where I sit. Tell me where you want me, because I don't want to move again, okay? I don't want to move. And then they started busting my chops for the rest of the lunch. Now, this is a preface to the situation that I'm about to relate. As I was walking out, one of the ladies who was chuckling at me was like, are you the youngest? I was like, no, I'm the only. She goes, ha ha, that explains it. Ha ha. You were spoiled. And I was like, you know what, lady?
Child, yeah.
You know what, lady? You motherfucker. I went home and I went on Amazon and I bought my mom a TV. And I said, there, how spoiled is that? Did I ever tell the lady I bought my mom a TV? No. I told my mom I bought a TV because some lady called me spoiled. And I said, anyway. She was really stoked about it. Yeah. I was like, TVs are so cheap thanks to the Chinese government subsidies. But I sent it over to my mom to replace. She has this horrible TV with lines in it. She kept it. Now she has an extra TV downstairs. I'm like,
my mom would do that too.
Yeah. I was like, can you please throw this out just so I know you're not using it? No. And she's like, if you don't like it, you can take it with you. So
she should give it to us, and then we'll bring it to the firing squad. As I have done with so many derelict toys.
Done deal.
I think she doesn't mind.
We will destroy it.
On top of she wanted her own space that Mikey wouldn't invade.
My stepdad.
Anyway, if anyone needs furniture assembled, I am an expert at it now because I had to assemble like literally every piece of furniture. First of all, I owned nothing. I owned nothing at all. So I had to buy everything because we even needed a new bed and mattress. So like we needed a new bed, mattress, couches for the living room, TV stand, TV, like decorations, kitchen table, chairs, coffee table, everything. I need everything. So I bought an entire house's worth of furniture, which was very annoying. We got good deals on some stuff. We got our bed and our mattress for free. Thanks, Amazon. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah. FYI, people, there is apparently a policy at Amazon where if the package is not delivered by the date it was supposed to be delivered and the tracking system has not updated for a certain amount of time, it might be 48 hours, maybe 72 hours, they consider the package lost. And then they just give you a refund. So
it still came in.
And it still came, yeah.
You got refunded. Okay.
Exactly, because it was supposed to get there on like a Monday, and then it didn't get there on Monday. So I called on Tuesday, and they looked at it, and they're like, well, there's no tracking notifications since like Thursday night. So the policy is we consider this lost. and then we issue you a refund. And if it shows up, just give us a call. And I forgot to call, so it's too late now.
It's funny because whenever that happens to me, I end up with 2 of those things because I'm like, well, they were so nice, they gave me a refund. I just ordered again.
Well, I don't need 2 beds and 2 mattresses.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
if I'm going to move in.
Yeah.
Right? So that was my big. My big news.
No, the house is really nice.
it's okay. It's all right.
The air conditioning
Okay,
wasn't working. Like every house that I move into, apparently the air conditioner doesn't work.
It's been a streak of them, right?
Yeah.
Can't exist in the same area as you because of your frequencies.
I guess. So we had to get that fixed. But our landlord was very nice about it.
Yeah. It was broken during the peak of the heat wave we just had.
Yeah.
Also a streak.
That was very,
happened here
very
too.
annoying.
Well, I guess that's not quite true. When we moved into this place, we didn't realize that it was like a week or 2 later, and then we had a heat wave, and then it was like, oh, and then it worked, and then it didn't, and then it worked, and then it didn't, and he was like, here's some window units.
Yeah.
Okay.
So air conditioning is, that's why I got a new car too.
What'd you get?
Ford Escape.
Very good. What made you go with the Escape? That's a crossover or something?
Yeah, it's a small SUV. I would consider it a crossover because I think it has the body of a car, like the frame chassis of a car.
Pretty sure it's a Focus with a bigger cabin.
It seems like it's longer than a Focus, so it might be a Fusion chassis. But then again, the Fusion chassis could be the Edge. Like it could be that the Escape has the Focus chassis, the Fusion has the Edge has the Fusion chassis, and I don't think the Explorer. I think the Explorer has its own chassis. Anyway.
It is a car.
Yeah, it's really nice. I'm really happy with it. It was way cheaper than I thought it was going to be. I got a bubble in my tire, so I had to go get new tires. Like 2 or 3 weeks after I moved into the new place.
Still in the old car.
Yeah, in the old car. Sorry. Yeah. I got in my old car. I got like a bubble in my tire, and
so you just bought a new car.
And no. Even worse, Bill. I had to get new tires. I needed an oil change and new brakes. Right, so I'd go get that done, and then 2 weeks after that was like $800. And then 2 weeks after that, I turn around and my air conditioner in my car breaks. So I take it to AAA. And they said they can't fix it. I got to take it to a dealership. So I take it to the dealership, and they're gonna it's gonna be like $1,800.
There's like a cosmic event that happens every year,
Yeah.
and if you are near an air conditioning unit of any kind, it's just like, oh, you gotta
It's like a
stop
butterfly
working.
effect.
Yeah, it really
Dominoes
does
start
feel
falling.
It
that
doesn't
way.
matter where, as long as Frank's nearby.
Here's the thing:
no.
it spread to me too, because out of nowhere, I tried to take a half day on Friday, only to find out my car won't fucking start as I'm leaving the office.
See, the thing is, what you forget is one day many years ago, you and Frank were up in the boonies of Pennsylvania, and you wronged a gypsy woman, and she cast a horrible spell on you. May you never be cool when it is hot. And that's why it breaks.
Yeah, she was a bitch.
Yeah.
But so I had to replace a starter to the tune of $480
Jesus Christ.
And then when I got the car back, I picked up the car yesterday. The fucking system clock and stereo would not function. So I took it back there, and all we had to do was unplug the battery and plug it back in. It was like literally one of those, but it was still like, why?
Why can't you just work?
Why?
Yeah.
I wanted to be home at 1:30 on Friday, not 4, because I had to get a tow and then walk to my house from the shop.
Oh, no.
Which thankfully I can do.
Yeah,
it's not that
too
bad.
far.
You do have legs.
I do have legs. They are currently
That does make it easier.
they're currently mosquito food, but I do have them still. They still kind of work. So yeah, I think I caught some backdraft of Frank's bullshit. Thanks, buddy.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
anytime.
man.
Thanks,
So yeah,
pal.
I mean, I looked at it. I was thinking of, do I want to get my air conditioning replaced? Because $1,800 was, still not as much as buying a new car, right? But then I thought about it, and it's like I had to put $800 in it back in January when I got it inspected, and then another $700 or $800 in June, and then in July, like another $1,800. Like at this point, the car was 10 years old, had 150,000 miles on it. It's like, just get a new one,
Here's one of my favorite horrible things about my personality. I acknowledge that it's awful. If in my car, which I don't want to get rid of until it falls apart, they're like, it's $1,800 to repair your air conditioner, I would pull out all of the stuff from the air conditioner and say, the car's lighter now. It's a feature, not a bug.
I mean, I thought if we weren't about to, if this would have happened, let's say now, instead of during the middle of a heat wave, especially when I was about to go down to the shore with my family, I probably just would have been like, yeah, the heat still works. We're most of the way through the summer. I'll just live without an air conditioner for another year because I planned on getting a new car next year anyway.
Right. Oh yeah.
And so I was like, I would have just lived, but like because it happened when it did, I was like, yeah, I just got to pull the trigger now. It ended up being cheaper than I thought anyway.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Happy for you. Happy. Like I keep saying, on
new place, new car,
through life changes on the podcast, and we're really stoked for both of you guys.
New place, new car. Hopefully a new job soon.
Oh,
yeah. We'll see.
Leisler
at the same place.
Leisler. I did need to remind. Just some good sagely advice. You're looking good. You're looking like you were hiking. You know, keeping it together. Your hair is great today, by the way. My curly-haired compatriot.
I know.
We both have longish curly hair. Okay, so we're in a club together.
Yeah.
We're exclusive.
But
fucking elitist.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said Lisa and I were exclusive. Yeah. But here's the thing. I've noticed all the pharmacists that I've ever encountered are incredibly good looking. So, the pharmacy down the road from me had two very good looking pharmacy ladies.
You've talked about this before.
One left. Right? I've talked about everybody behind the pharmacy counter is actually in pretty darn good shape. Even beyond physical fitness, they'll be beautiful. But so she left, and this super handsome Ken doll man came in, and he works there now. I'm like, what?
Doesn't have a penis.
What are they? Well, I haven't inspected, but you know,
it's pretty obvious.
Hopefully he doesn't listen to the show, so he doesn't poison me. But just listen. Here's the thing: you're doing good. Just don't age at all or overeat or anything. Okay,
I have drugs for that. So.
I fucking knew it.
Don't do this thing.
Okay, everybody. Thank you for sticking with our family update. We're going to kick it to a quick break, but when we come back, we are going to talk about. We're going to do a review of Game Fuel, which I bought. It's Mountain Dew's, thing to be paired with Doritos to make you the top tier gamer. I'm going to make a prediction on the future of gold digging, and additionally, I'm going to talk a little bit about Jurassic Schmark. All right, welcome back. We are starting this section with our review of Game Fuel made by the crispest of companies, Mountain Dew. Now,
Mountain Dew amp on it.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Yeah, it's Mountain Dew amp Game Fuel.
Oh, okay. So AMP is a Mountain Dew product?
Yes.
Okay. So the two ladies have it right now, and they're about to open it up. We have the red flavor and the blue flavor.
Cherry and berry.
Yeah. Why don't you guys give us your initial reactions?
Oh, I have an initial reaction.
Okay.
Oh my! No, I'm triggered. No. Okay. This is one can of Gamer Fuel. And yet, whatever. And yet, on the nutrition facts label, it has 2 servings per can, and it gives you the serving, specificities for half of a can and 1 can. All right, if you're giving me 1 fucking container, I'm gonna eat and or drink the entire thing.
Exactly.
So this is 1 serving. No,
that should be yes.
Just tell me what's gonna happen to my body when I drink the whole thing.
16-ounce can.
I'm challenging your objection already.
No.
Is that can resealable?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That
I
weird
don't
Kappa
care.
looks resealable.
No, because even one of those big family size of chips, it's
Have
like,
you
oh my God, no. 16
ever-
servings. I'm like, I'm going to eat it if I open it.
Have you ever bought a 2 liter
I have
of soda?
never eaten a single person or
No.
serving. amount
If
of
you
anything.
have you drank the whole thing?
I don't buy soda.
Great.
Never
Have
in
you
my
ever purchased a bag of chips?
Yeah, I have.
Have you ever, shut
No,
up,
no.
have you ever not finished the entire bag in one sitting?
I always eat the entire bag in one sitting.
You are a liar.
You know what? I will say not in one sitting, in one day.
No,
though.
this bothers
One day,
me.
yes, I will
Like,
eat all those
because
chips.
I'm going to open it and
I'm
eat
not
the whole
asking-
thing. I want to know what it's going to do to my body when I just eat the whole thing. Don't make me feel bad about having the whole
I'm
thing.
not asking anyone if they have ever smashed a whole box of Cheez-Its in one
No,
sitting.
because I don't want
I
to feel
have.
bad about having eaten 16 servings.
I'm
I'll feel
asking,
better about one.
have you
bag
ever
serving.
not done
Quit
that?
bragging, Jake.
I don't want to feel bad about the 16 servings of chips I ate one time. That was a family size party of one.
Is the can
I just wanna
scolding
know.
you?
Now it's his fault.
No, okay. You know what?
Or is it just
Jake,
providing
no.
numbers
Jake,
and you're
Jake,
presuming
Jake,
offense?
No, Bill asked for my initial reaction,
That is her reaction.
and this is my reaction. I got triggered by it.
It's
okay?
alarming.
Well,
Yeah.
well,
We haven't even opened the can.
I will say
in controversy. Over.
I will say that her description that she is triggered is very accurate.
It is an appropriate use of the term.
You are 100% on point so far with your descriptions.
Thank you, Bill.
Any other initial reactions to these?
Can I read
I
the
like the
ingredients
blue
now?
color of the can.
It is a nice blue. Genevieve, you're staring at it.
Yeah, I'm reading the ingredients because they're entertaining. There is 5%.
No surprise on the number 2 ingredient.
High fructose corn syrup.
Caffeine?
Yeah. No.
Syrup.
Water. Sorry, carbonated water. High fructose corn syrup.
Oh, yeah.
I have
Popcorn
some
juice.
Grape juice.
Popcorn
concentrate.
juice. They pop the corns and they blend them up.
And just a bunch of, chemicals. So caffeine's actually, it's in there, but it's a couple ingredients in. And red 40, of course, because I've got the cherry flavor. So we're going to have some dye for that. What? I'm doing my review.
By reading the ingredients.
Everyone's just like roasting
God
someone
bless
else's
you.
initial reactions, and I feel bad about it.
Oh, my God.
We're examining a can of soda.
Panax ginseng root extract.
There's not that much
that's
caffeine in
ginseng.
these.
It's ginseng's like an energy booster, like in those
Yeah.
stupid 5-hour energy things, like ginseng.
There's
caffeine.
only 90 milligrams of caffeine in all 16 ounces of
That's
this.
what, like two
Alright.
2 cups of coffee?
I think it's like...
I'm sorry. Are you looking at the one serving or the
no,
two
I
serving?
said in the whole thing.
He did say that.
Okay, so that's 2 servings.
Yes.
Yeah.
But let's be real. If you open it, you can drink the whole thing.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong about that.
I just don't want to feel bad when I eat
But
the
just
entire
is that the point right
container.
now?
I
Lisa,
want to just.
there is so much going on with these cans. I will circle back, but we
What is glycerol ester of rosin?
I don't know.
nobody here knows.
Let's open it and drink it.
Well, before we open it, let's talk about a thing I am astounded you guys didn't react to. These fucked up lids.
Oh, well,
Oh no, because we're.
I
gonna fix that
reacted
when
to
we're
it
opening
before the mic came on. I apologize.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
So-
they look like part of a car console.
That was actually my first
Yes.
reaction
In
before the triggering.
16 ounces of these drinks is the same amount of caffeine as 1 8-ounce cup of coffee.
Okay, so
So it's per volume of liquid, it's got half the caffeine of coffee.
Okay.
So,
So is it like a vitamin B injection also? Like
Yeah, it's
taurine
got
and all
other
that
stuff.
shit?
There's like
in
the
there.
ginseng in it.
Ginseng's
Probably
fine.
some guarana.
I
Yerba
will
mate.
I will let the cat out of the bag a little bit here. I've had a couple other flavors of this. In the past, I probably had 4 cans.
did it improve your gaming levels?
That is the big reveal for the end of the show. But I have had to encounter these fucking lids, these openings before. Now, it's a flat piece of plastic, and there's like a paper belt that goes across, and just above it, it says open. I will tell you, this is not intuitive in instructing you how the fuck you're supposed to
Is that
open
not
this
where you
thing.
open it?
It's not pulling the open part open.
Well, that is step 1 of at
I
least
think this is
3.
what we need to do now.
All right, can we try opening it now? Are we ready for
Please
this?
go ahead. All right, there you go.
All right, so
Well,
I
I can't.
pulled the thing.
How'd
that
you do
says
that?
Open.
Oh, I did it.
Just pull the
There you
tab.
go.
that
They pulled the
says
tab.
open.
Now it's open.
What the fuck? Oh my god! Oh, you slide the thing. You slide it. It's like a puzzle. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Now,
Yeah, that is not very.
what our
no,
listeners
that
cannot
was fun. No.
what our
So it
listeners
is
cannot
resealable.
see is that the lid does not it doesn't flip open at both ends. I thought it would be a lifting opening action, and I nearly ripped my nail off my finger. Fortunately, I used a tool, but it in fact slides like a moonroof. I don't know why. Like, I thought the top would be a little hole for air action so that I could dump this into my gullet as fast as possible. Now,
Well, that's because they don't want you to have both servings at once, apparently.
right. So
I'm sure they're not the first 16-ounce can to have
She
a
wants to die on.
now this
2-serving capacity.
Now,
Lisa.
to be fair, it does close. It's got slots. Now, if you're going to use this to collect aluminum, I think you got to worry about the plastic. But you guys have all tasted it, so let's give
Holy
me,
hot damn! It is
what do you
delicious.
what do you think?
Berry?
I'm scared to taste
I
it.
want to share the berry.
give it a
after
slurp.
You got it.
Get a big old slurp.
Get a good slurp going.
Pretty good.
Why are you sticking your tongue out?
I'm like Scooter with the Krabby Patty. Okay, leave me alone.
It reminds me of
What is wrong with you?
Code
Red.
No, it's less like I don't know how to describe soda. I used to be a big fan when I was very young, but I don't drink it very often these days, except for ginger ale.
Oh my god, it's like halfway gone already.
But it's like
Cool.
a Minute Maid fruit punch kind of sort of action with a little bit of fizz and a little bit of energy drink sting.
I'll tell you, ultimately, when I drank these, they all sort of
wanna try to
tasted
share?
like your sugary versions of a fruit drink
Lisa is a coward.
with extra carbonation.
So you're gonna drink the whole can now?
It tastes more like juice than like a Monster or Red Bull or anything. It tastes
Yeah,
like
it doesn't taste like an energy drink.
it tastes like juice,
Yeah, no, this is just like
soda juice.
I would say the blueberry or not blueberry. It's berry, like
Lisa,
raspberry.
how do you like Sour Patch Kids and not like that? It tastes like liquefied Sour Patch Kids
Without the sour.
Without the sour.
Blue raspberry, that's what I was thinking of. That's what it tastes
This
like.
tastes, this blue one tastes a lot like those. Remember those little Huggies, the plastic,
Diapers? Huggies are diapers.
the plastic barrels filled
Yes.
with sugar juice, sugar water
Yeah.
that we all had as kids.
It tastes like shit. Oh, someone fill the gap. I need to.
Well, yeah, it tastes like it just tastes like a melted Freezy Pop.
That's it. That's what I was thinking.
So
Yeah,
bad.
with some fizzy in it.
What
Now,
is wrong with you? I mean, it's not like
No.
Lisa,
those
you
are,
are a pussy bitch.
those are so disgusting.
FYI.
so it gives you alert.
She's having like a legit panic attack.
Pussy.
Hold on. Let's ramp up the lens on this right
Okay,
now.
on a scale
Where's
of
your
1 to
pain?
10, I wouldn't even drink one serving.
Are you
out of that
having
2-serving
contractions over there? What?
No, it's just so
going on?
disgusting. I'm like physically reacting to the grossness.
I thought it was pretty good. I like the berry one more, the blue one.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I'll go about equally.
I was about to say
Which
what
is
berries are
interesting because
blue,
I
and
prefer
then-
Mountain Dew Code Red to all
had
of the other
thought.
Mountain Dews.
Well, Code Red is the superior.
It's the best by far.
So it's interesting. Like
the original game fuel.
I used to drink a lot of Mountain Dew, and then I stopped, and because I don't really drink sugary soda.
See anymore?
The only soda I would drink was, I could see beyond sight. No, I would only drink soda when I was drinking liquor mixed with Coca-Cola or whatever. But now I don't do that. So I go back to Mountain Dew during hunting season because I need that. I need that extra edge to do 360 no scope deer in their domer piles. But it's like so heavy and thick and flavorful.
I didn't even look at. There's a tutorial on the can about how to open it. I feel somehow like a genius and an idiot at the same time.
So, but this is a much, I think, lighter feeling.
Yeah, it does. It's not as over the top, and I think you can tell. Like, there's definitely not as much sugar in it as a normal soda.
Does anybody want more of this blue stuff before
No.
I'll take some.
I put her down?
Well, I'm gonna stick with the cherry then.
What would happen if we mixed them together?
It'd be purple drink.
I think we would fucking
Cherry
explode.
berry blast.
Amp game
I think
purple drink.
Jake, you've got some cups right there. I
You
think
got some
we gotta.
cups. I got a
I
whole
think
lot
we
of
gotta.
cups.
Yep.
Are we gonna do this?
Cup.
Is this gonna happen?
Oh God. Is this a challenge?
So,
Oh
I
shit.
triple dog.
Oh
you.
shit.
just jump right to the triple dog.
Well,
Wow.
I don't have time for all the dogs to
Well,
Can't
that
be doing
escalated.
triple
Oh,
doggy
Genevieve, you
style.
can't just
We're gonna-
invoke triple
Oh, by a
dog
lot
like
of cups, I
that.
mean I have one left. Oh, that's fine.
Oh yeah, we get to share it.
Red
This is called a
Solo
super
cup.
side.
I fill you up
With the game
party.
fuel, proceed to party.
Look, Jake's being a scientist right now. Wait, how much are we doing?
Wow, that actually
Don't
looks
do all of
cool
it.
as fuck. So the fluorescent red and fluorescent blue that float out mixed in the air into a gorgeous purple.
It's
Yeah.
fucking American as shit.
Well, it's fizzy right now.
It's just fizzy right
It
now.
does look purple though.
Like gray.
Lisa is like as disgusted as like I would be
That
looking
was-
at like a
I'm
mutilated
sorry.
corpse.
There was gray. There was gray
As if
froth.
no one else would be disgusted by that.
Well, y'all are in the medical field. You
There
automatically
was a
have a
gray
stronger tolerance than me.
froth on top of that liquid.
It's gone away now.
It is
so
now
it's,
like
now it looks more like just your purple generic soda.
Yeah, actually, it kind of looks like
Oh,
Coke.
yeah.
Like it's
Looks
just
like
so
grape
dark.
soda.
Yeah.
It looks
But-
less gross now.
Oh, Jake took a swig. He sworshed it around.
How's the swirsh?
It's pretty good.
The one thing I can
It
say,
tastes like the two mixed together.
Yeah.
You'll be unsurprised to hear.
All right, pass it along.
the one thing I can say is that I already feel like my teeth are about to fall out.
Oh yeah, me too. That's
Yeah,
the
I feel like I drank a rubber log.
I
and
swear
it's
that's the
sitting
high
in my
fructose
belly.
corn syrup more than anything.
Yeah.
because I get the same way with just normal soda.
Okay, so I did drink 4 of these in
Done
the
did
past.
do a
I
drink.
feel like it loses flavor, actually.
Yeah, and you know when I
Like, you don't have to if you don't want to.
when I didn't have my
Pussy.
daily coffee, these were nice. They filled that gap. It gave me a little
It
bit
is
of a
refreshing.
different energy. And I'll tell you, I will tell you for free.
Tell me, Bill.
I then did play the Counter-Strike. And as the can says, my alertness and my awareness and whatever else they have on the can,
Accuracy.
Yeah.
accuracy was increased. I felt like I got 6% performance enhancement. Now, was it because I was no longer in caffeine withdrawal? Perhaps, but I did fuel my game with this garbage, and it's not all that expensive. I mean, I prefer Mondu. Okay, I'm not really a coffee drinker. I drink Mondus every day.
Says the guy that regularly shows up to the podcast with 2 24-ounce Wawa coffees.
I haven't done that in months. I can't do
Really?
it because it turns out
Have a Monday today.
your boy also doesn't handle lactose well.
Yeah.
Just drink it black.
Well,
That's racist, Frank.
here's the thing. Some of their flavors have additives in there that upset my little tum-tum. So, and they cycle through the coffee containers, so I end up with like gluten or some shit in there. It's just,
I love it.
it's not great. Anyway, these aren't all that expensive. If you're a 13-year-old and you're looking for something to make you feel cool and give you some energy, I mean, this stuff will do it. I don't recommend anything like this to a child or anyone.
Cool.
But it does look.
Anyone?
It does say it's naturally and artificially flavored.
Ooh.
Sparkling juice beverage from concentrate.
Juice beverage.
Where is
Wow.
this
I feel less
juice.
shitty about this than I do any energy drink.
Yeah.
By name, and honestly, kind of most sodas, broadly speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Coca-Cola gives me a fucking headache.
Really?
High fructose corn syrup fucks me up in the first place, so
This is
I
the
wouldn't
second
be.
ingredient in
I would
this.
not be. But it's a
ready
soda,
for this.
so I would not be relying upon it. I mean, if I had like a full 20-ounce bottle, like I would be very annoyed with my brain and how it hurts.
Like, why did I do that?
And then often my belly as well. It's just I can't do it. Which is why all those like cane sugar like all the old school recipes, like the throwbacks and all the Mexican import sodas, if you ever pick those up at a Mexican place, all that shit. I mean, it's still sugar water. You don't want to have a lot of it, but at least it doesn't hurt me.
Yeah.
With my meal.
Fact from Phil the scientist: the throwback and real cane sugar soda is way more than regular high fructose corn syrup.
Cool.
Okay, so Phil is a doctorate in chemistry.
Yeah.
He is a real chemistry scientist.
Yo, scientist Phil got me through Orgo.
Yes.
Phil
Organic chemistry was not easy.
does not like to carry 8 containers of real sugar Mountain Dew. Now, who drinks that Mountain Dew? Genevieve's mom. Genevieve's mom is like 5'3", maybe 110 pounds, in great shape, but she drinks Mountain Dew like
It's her job.
it's a fucking hobby. Like, she loves it. It's always
gotten
there.
better,
And
but-
Phil's like, I don't want to carry these 8 Mountain Dews with real sugar because they're heavier.
I like with the cases.
The entire family, Genevieve, her mom, and her sister, are like, chemist Phil, you're insane. There's no way it's heavier. And I love the gumption. I love the self-assuredness that you are arguing with a doctor about the weight of a dissolved solution.
Because it's such a minor, like the weight difference.
It can't be that much.
It's so tiny.
Over eight containers of
It's not
12 cans. It can be, right?
Well, 8 containers of 12 cans of anything is fucking heavy.
Yeah, but it's even heavier because the artificial sweeteners that they use instead of sugar
Get a fucking pallet jack.
are
We might as well.
They're a dolly.
Honestly, 8 is more than usually
they
like
are
4 at most.
200 times more sweet than sugar, which is why it's diet. Technically, they do have calories, but it's less than 1, so they put none for diet stuff.
It's like
so it's 1/200th of the dissolved flavor. All right? So real sugar's 200 times heavier. Boom!
Got him.
Got him. And in case you nerds didn't know, fluid ounces are not a measurement of weight or mass.
Volume.
They're a measurement of volume. Check and mate, Genevieve. So, yeah, I guess I don't think these are over $3. I definitely would not pay over $3 for one of these things. I think they're like $2.20
per can.
Yeah.
What? That's absurd.
It's an energy drink. They're in that market.
Cheaper than a Red Bull, usually.
Yeah, but
Certainly of the equivalent size.
I would still choose something else.
Red Bull's smaller.
Well, they come in size.
Skinnier?
They come in larger sizes.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's not bad. I mean, Mountain Dew makes a good soda. So,
I like them better than basic Mountain Dew.
yeah. Lisa, can you give us a score out of 10?
Can I point
Wow. All right. So out of 10 being Mount Everest, this was the bottom of the fucking Mariana Trench.
Okay. Let's just go around the circle. Frankum.
Yeah. I would give this, I'll say 3 canes out of 5 corn sugar stalks.
Okay.
Interesting.
Jacoby?
Sight.
Yeah. 2.5. It's like
I'll say
Sorry.
Normally I think it's pretty decent. Like shit, I mean, like a 6.5 out of 10. It's sitting in my tum-tum weird today, probably because I've already had a bunch of other shit in there. Yeah, I eat shit for breakfast. Okay, Genevieve.
I verify he eats shit for breakfast. I'd go with like, I guess 7 out of 10 drops of tiger blood.
Okay. All right, very
It's
good.
a higher rating than I thought.
Yeah. It's not too bad.
It's not bad. I don't drink soda very often anyways, so it's kind of like,
Yeah.
this is equal to just regular soda for me.
You know what it fucking tastes like? And this is the last thing I'll say before we move on. I used to drink. What the hell was it? The girls really like it in college. It's like a vodka, but Blue Wave.
Blue Wave.
It tastes like
I have
blue
thrown
and
up
red
so
and
much
purple.
Blue Wave in my life.
Once college females are confused about what this
what's
Blue Wave
I've
is.
never heard of this.
It's like a 70
Is that
proof.
cologne stuff that guys use?
No. It's like
It's
a,
bottom shelf vodka.
it's like 70 proof. It's 10 less than regular vodka, but it's super sweet, and the purple one glows under a black light.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's
when we
what I
threw
want.
parties and we wanted the ladies to come, we'd buy a bunch of this garbage. And we were all of age, and everybody.
Definitely.
Yeah, when I was not of age, like my freshman year of college, I threw up so much Blue Wave. Like, I probably somehow managed to throw up more than I actually drank.
Why would you drink cologne?
You
Your body produced more.
created more. Ew.
We would go through. So I lived with one of Jake and mine's dear friends from college. One of my friends from high school for a while, but he dropped out after the first semester of college. And then I was alone for a while, and I got this random guy that was like very North Philly, like just one of those like straight drug dealer. And he moved in with me, and he, like, the first thing he asked me was if I like Blue Wave. And I was like, I mean, I've had it, but, like, I was more of a whiskey drinker always. And he was like, bro, that's got to change.
You're like, man, I'm going to ask this hillbilly if he likes Blue Wave. I got to get to know this motherfucker.
Yeah. But I was like, yeah, I'll drink anything. I don't care as long as it gets me drunk. 18-year-old freshman in college, of course. Right. So the first weekend he's there, there's like, I don't know, 8 of us. Like he brings like his friends over, and we're just gonna get drunk in our dorm room. So I guess so that they could get to know me. And he bought. There was like, I don't know, somewhere between 6 and 8 of us, and he bought like 8 handles of Blue Wave. So that we essentially like each drank an entire hand. It was unbelievable. I've never like to drink one specific thing of like so much of that one specific thing. I've never seen anyone do anything like that before.
My God.
That's the kind of story where you hear about people never being able to drink said substance again.
Surprisingly, the only thing that ever happened to me with was grape vodka.
Ooh.
So wait, this what's it called? Blue
Wave.
Blue Wave.
Red Wave, Purple Wave. They have the different colors.
I'm assuming the different colors means it has different flavors with it.
Quote unquote flavors.
Yeah, you're right on track.
Is blue the
I'm just checking.
I'm confirming.
blue banana flavor?
Yes, it's blue banana.
Was there more to that?
No, I just wanted to know that.
Okay, yeah.
Like if you're drinking just that, I'm like that
No,
would
I
be
mean,
kind of rough if it didn't have.
You typically mix it, but the thing is, if you wanted to drink it on the rocks to pretend like you were cool, it was easier. Or you could just drink it straight from the bottle. I don't recommend any of that. Don't recommend.
How does it compare to like Everclear?
Oh, it's far less.
It's very sweet.
Everclear is essentially ethanol.
Everclear is actually
Jesus
good.
Christ, we got a hold of Everclear one night in college, and people were like drawing on walls while they were pooping and throwing up over radiators. That was weird stuff. That's not good for your health.
Yeah,
No.
thanks.
All right, so before we get into Frank's review of the Civ 6, and I'm probably going to say Jurassic Park for next episode, I do want to throw this out there. It was something I've been ruminating over for the past week, and the explosion of esports has led to my delight, a general acceptance from the public in that people realize they can make money off of this. And you know, there was a kid from Pottstown. I guess he just won $3 million for the what is it?
Fortnite.
Fortnite, like World Championship or something.
Yeah, and it like $3 million at 16. Hopefully his parents don't spend it all in one place. But I remember reading like trash gossip about professional gamers, you know, like, and then I was reading like, oh, this guy's got a bad personality, he's been suspended, this guy got too drunk before practice, and like blah blah blah. And I was like, this sounds so much like sports players of old and their gossip. And that led me to the great question: $3 million, gossip, gold diggers. I'm wondering what the esports gold digger is gonna look like. Now, I feel like
cam girls.
I feel like when you say that,
Yes.
Well, cam girls are often, they got their own thing going.
Yeah, but then they don't have to do anything, and they get more money.
Are they gonna look like the I'm quoting Sir Mix-a-Lot, rap guy's girlfriend, which I think is the traditional look? Or are we going to have like a bunch of nerd girls like, ooh, I did math one time, I'm a nerd, with glasses with like no lenses in, and these poor like isolated nerds, actual dorks used to playing in their basement. Or I feel like it's just going to be a sensory overload. They're going to be ripe for the picking when the money's good, because they're like, I've never had this kind of attention before. It's going to be a decade before this kind of money normalizes, and people are like, yo, you got to watch yourself. They're coming for you.
See, I imagine it's going to be the same kind of caliber ladies and I guess gentlemen as like big tech startup CEOs and stuff have, like the, you know what I mean? Like tech developers.
Well, I feel like those guys, they end up so rich, and they're like usually still adults, that they're like, well, they're like
They revert back to children.
sorry, they're usually like later into their adult.
Yeah, I mean, like what Bill's saying is like this kid's 16, right?
Yeah.
The tech billionaires don't normally become billionaires until they're 23, 24.
Right.
That's a lot more life experience than a 16-year-old.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And like I think these, especially with how young these gamers can be, I feel like they're just, the community isn't like, it's not like a known thing. Like, you got to watch out for these absolute bombshells coming in and sinking their claws in you. And I don't mean this in a derogatory way. It's just some people, they got a good hustle going. What do you predict, Genevieve? What do you think is?
I just told you.
Oh, okay. Leisler.
I don't know. I mean, there may be some of that, but also if you have a bunch of, underage teenagers, like there may be other people who may want to like, oh, we can help you take care of your money till you're like that kind of scamming going on, as opposed to just gold digging.
Yeah.
But okay, on the gold digging side though, I think, oh no, I could really play into the stereotype. You may have people who dress like waifus and
I didn't even think of that.
And like it may happen.
Hello Kitty 64.
Oh no. But that's my prediction. That could happen.
I think it's gonna be cam girls. I think it's gonna be or like titty streamers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like
games, but
yeah. Streamers like who. Like girls that will whore themselves out by showing as much cleavage as possible without getting banned from Twitch, and they have a somewhat following, but not really enough to make a decent amount of money. And they're like, oh man, that guy, he's a professional. Like, they're like the big, like they're the prom queen of the Twitch streaming community.
Dude, that is such the obvious answer, more than my like nerd girl. It's just like one of these gamer girls who have bathwater, and they got
what
big
old bathwater thing.
Oh, there was a thing.
There was a game, like a streamer game girl who sat in a tub of water and then sold that bathwater.
Oh my god!
And made a fuckload of money.
Did someone drink it then?
I don't know. She sold it to some
Surely
other
someone
people.
drank it.
No, but like, so the difference between like a cam girl's like porn.
Yeah.
And a titty streamer is like someone who plays video games with their jugs out. Not all the way out, because there's terms of service. Yeah. And I was like, that makes so much more sense. That makes so much more sense, because they are in the industry. They've got the clout.
Yep.
And they got big old jugs.
So they've got the access. Yeah. And it's like, oh man, this, she might have like, I don't know, 1,000 subscribers or whatever, and maybe hold an audience of 3,000 or 4,000 at most people at one time. And you've got this kid that's a professional, just won a couple $1 million. She uses her mini clout and the fact that she has tits to get into I don't know, whatever an esports equivalent of PAX or Comic-Con is or something like that. And it's like, sup.
Like, and the
tits.
Those are true.
Yeah.
That like, Christ, that 13 to 22, those are your thirstiest years as a man. I don't know about the ladies. I don't know anything about you.
Living in the desert, I was often parched.
Yeah, it's just.
We're thirsty.
Yeah, you like, and even if like this, if you were one of those people who's looking to marry into some gamer money, like, you just wait. You just wait around.
That's a brand new sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be some little girl's dream.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
From like Slovenia, maybe, right? Like, I'm going to America. I'm gonna marry a gamer money. All right.
Money. That's how she would say it too.
Well, that's fun, and I don't know where Slovenia is, so I'm sorry, that country. All right, Frank. You've been playing the Civilization 6 Gandhi's Retribution.
Yep.
It's finally, from what I've heard, I think maybe you told me, it's finally the game that you want it to be, right? It's had enough updates that it's decent?
So it was very good after they released the second expansion, which I think I detailed back in like February, like several months ago. It might have been longer than that at this point. Gathering Storm was the name of it. It might have come out in February of 2018.
Can we agree that Gathering Storm is a hype as fuck name?
And guess what the major introduction of Gathering Storm was?
A lightning strike.
No.
Yep, just one though.
What?
That you get
Global motherfucking warming.
Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Oh boy. So what do you do with global warming? Like,
so
how does that affect the
turn
gameplay?
it up.
So as you progress throughout the game, right? So each game. So for those that remember, might not remember Civ, you start with a unit where you can found a city, and then you grow your city and your civilization from like the prehistoric era to the future. You interact with other different civilizations on the map, trade with them, go to war with them, ignore them. Anyway, so once you hit about the industrial-ish era, and you can start consuming resources to burn for fuel, specifically like coal and oil, the more of those resources that you use, the more pollutants go into the atmosphere and the warmer the global temperature gets. At first, not too big of an effect, but it also introduced, to complement the climate change system, a disaster system.
Ooh.
So there are secular disasters to global warming, like volcanoes and floods, right, which are going to happen regardless of your warming. Like, you can have volcanoes in the ancient era, and same thing with river floods. That was a huge thing back in ancient times. When a river would flood, it could, like the Nile, be both a hugely destructive force and a hugely beneficial force to fertilize the river valley. And that's kind of what they went with for the most part, is especially for the volcano and rivers. Whenever a disaster for those, you could have different levels of flooding, you know, like a 100-year flood or a 1,000-year flood or something like that. And it could damage the improvements and whatnot you had next to the river, but it would also fertilize the river area, so that you would get more stuff for having that as part of your civilization.
But it would take a couple turns, I'm guessing,
to repair. Yeah. Now, you could also build a dam to mitigate that, but it would also mitigate the resources that, increase as a result, or the bonuses that result of it. Volcanoes are super, super powerful, not just in terms of the damage that they can do, but in terms of how much stuff you can get from them. For those who are familiar with civilization, I've seen people, like, in the ancient era, have tiles that have like 4 or 5 food and 3 or 4 production in one tile around, and they'll be able to have like 3 or 4 of those around a volcano and it'll get you some science too, for being close to the volcano. So it's like it could be very powerful, at the risk of potentially destroying large portions of your city and killing a lot of population in your city.
Is there like sort of an average or a max amount of tiles that it will affect? Because, like, I can imagine rivers, it would be just like 1 or 2 tiles out from the river itself. But
I think I've seen big floods that can damage 5 or 6 tiles, and same thing with a volcano. It's in one, and the tiles, like, it'll damage all 6 around it if it's a big enough eruption.
Okay.
And sometimes even normally it's in one direction for some reason, but yeah, they can get pretty big. It's just fairly rare that those happen. They also have tornadoes, droughts, and hurricanes. And I think that's all.
I'm guessing all those are entirely unpredictable. Like,
yes.
You can kind of see a flood or a volcano erupting.
Yep. The nice thing is they have, you can set the intensity and the frequency of those disasters at the beginning of the game on a scale of 1 to 4. So, I've found, actually, personally, and this is what I mentioned, when the Gathering Storm first debuted, the game was like mostly perfect for what this thing could do. But it took them until the summer patch that came out a few weeks ago to fine tune everything. Right. And now that summer patch is out, it is much better. Like, they've addressed some major issues that were really annoying people. There's this one, Bill, this would bug you because I know you really hate when developers kind of mail in or just overlook like a really simple UI thing. Yeah. So they had this awful problem where you would get these like dialogue boxes of different things that happened throughout every turn that were huge. And if you had more than 4 or 5 of them, which once you got to the later stage of the game would be every turn, they would take up the entire screen.
Oh my God.
And you had to like right click each one of them to get rid of them.
Rid of pop-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus Christ.
And I mean, it was absurd. And it took them months to fix that. Like, they could have pushed a patch out in like literally a night that just made them smaller. And it took them months to fix this.
Yeah.
So did they just make them smaller, or did they do something else with
They
it?
made them smaller and put them in the corner.
Oh,
Good.
good.
Yeah, right? Like, how fucking hard was that? Why did it take, like, 12 months to get that fixed? Anyway, there were a few other fixes, balancing especially, that they did that just made the game flow so much better. It is as addicting as Civ has ever been now.
No shit.
Yeah.
Is it finally going to push 4 out of the top spot?
Yes. Well, see, that's the thing, Bill. All right. When Civ 5 came out, people said, oh, Civ 4 is, way better, and I'm never going to stop playing this game. And they still picked up 5, and they played it for a little bit, and they're like, oh, I'm just going to go back to Civ 4 and then now that Civ 6 is out, those same people have moved on from Civ 4 to Civ 5, and they're like, oh, no, Civ 5 is definitely the best one, and I don't know why you'd need to move beyond this. They're stuck in the old one constantly. They're always a game behind. And, like, on one hand, I kind of understand, like, the games are so good, you might get 5, 6, 7,000 hours out of them if you like strategy games, because it is by far the best strategy game on the market.
And to that point, I have tried a number of different strategy games. In fact, just like
you played Stellaris, right? You bought that?
Yeah,
in addition, it's good, but it's not the same.
It doesn't hook me.
No.
And Off-World Trading Company hasn't hooked me.
Nope.
City Skylines hasn't hooked me.
I got that too.
Hearts of Iron hasn't hooked me.
I've not played that.
Civ is just the big.
The only one that comes close is Europa Universalis. It's the only one that comes close. But yeah, Civ 6, man, the summer patch really did it. I don't really want to go over the minor or like all the minor details that they got through. If you are interested in them, then look them up. They have a whole thing. They have a YouTube video that explains through them. Hats off to the development team for the game for being so interactive with the community between the main forum for the game, which is the Civ Fanatics website, and then the Civ 6 or the Civilization subreddit, and then the YouTube channel that they have as well. They are extremely interactive with the community. They really take to heart all of the issues that the people complain about. For the most part, I mean, there is a tried and true section of the community that loves to complain about the AI of the game. I mean, they're not going to go back and redesign the entire AI for the game at this point. It came out in 2016. They're probably a year into designing Civ 7. So yeah, that's not going to happen. I know, it's weird to think about that. And that's why I understand the people that are a game behind, because Civ 6 wasn't perfected probably until, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, a month ago or something like that. And the game came out in 2016. So you're talking it takes 3 years to truly get the game perfect. I would not blame anybody who's been playing Civ 5 the entire time, because they perfected that game for what it is, right? I mean, obviously Civ 5 is not a perfect game, but for the mechanics that they have in Civ 5...
Yeah, and it's also something that they're used to, probably.
Right,
so
exactly.
Rather play something you know is good, than try to force your way through a game that's somewhat like it, but...
Right. But yeah, right now, I mean, I'm really, really hooked on Civ 6. I have finally bumped myself up to Immortal. Yeah, which is the second highest difficulty level. I really think I might get to Deity before I'm very sure I will get to Deity before Civ 7 comes out. Because I think we got at least 3 years before we see a Civ 7, maybe 4. And I think it's going to take me probably a year of playing on Immortal at least before I feel comfortable bumping that difficulty up, because it took me about a year of playing on an Emperor to bump up to Immortal. And right now I think I've won 2 games on Immortal.
Yeah.
And out of 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good hit rate after bumping up the difficulty level. But I'm gonna need to win. I'm gonna need to play at least 20 or 25 games, which for those who say, oh well, that's not gonna take too long. These games take 8 to 10 hours a piece.
Easy.
Yeah, at least.
It's
so
a time sink, kind of.
That's going to take me a while to get through. It could take me 18 months to get all 25 of those games in. But yeah, all of the DLC, I recommend literally everything you can buy of that game.
On Steam sale, I picked it up, all DLC included, for $30.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
I did.
If you like strategy games, you will not find a better. We use that metric of like trying to get $1 per hour worth of entertainment. You will not find a better deal in entertainment than this game if you like strategy games.
It truly has been like a game spoiler, the Civilization series. I stumbled across it 15 years ago, Civ 2 on the fucking PlayStation. It was my cousin's. I played it so much he just let me keep the disc. And like now I'm like, oh, other games must be this good. They're not.
No, it's
I keep
unfortunate.
trying to find another one that pulls me in for turn after turn, minute after minute. It's Civ's the boss daddy, man.
SimCity 4 got close for me.
Really?
Yes. It was. That's probably the only other strategy-like game that I've sunk any amount of time that's close to the Civilization series, as I have. I also recently picked up City Skylines. Well, it's on Xbox Game Pass, and I downloaded it and I started playing it. And I really like it. I've enjoyed it, but again, I probably put about 25, 30 hours into it over the course of a month, and I haven't touched it since I moved out of here, really. So it's been at least 2 or 3 months since I've touched it. But Civ 6, I saw after I wasn't so busy moving and everything like that, and I had Lisa's wonderful computer set up. Her computer is very nice. In my bedroom, I gave it a spin, and I read the notes on the summer patch and loved every second I got out of it. It's as some would say, perfectly balanced. Not really. I mean,
As all things should be.
It's really not perfectly balanced. There are still some overpowered civs, but that's good. I always thought people assume that a perfect game is going to make it so that every civ is like there's no clear winner among them. I always thought you kind of want at least 3 tiers, like one that's pretty clearly very strong, another that's not as great but that still has good bonuses, and then one where you're like, I don't really see the appeal of it, because one, I think most people are going, for the most part, most people are going to not be in clear agreement for all of them just because of their play styles and what they tend to prioritize, but also because if you have those clearly very strong civs, it makes jumping up difficulty levels a little bit easier, right? In that you're like, you know what, I don't know if I can really compete on the next difficulty, but I'll use this civ leader and I'll fill the game in with all the weaker ones, and then I think I have a really good shot.
Right.
And then you learn, you kind of give yourself a little bit more of a gradual grade to climb up that difficulty ladder, because making that jump, especially people talk about the jump from king to immortal, and for those who are unfamiliar, king has no bonuses to either you or the AI. You all start on equal ground, and then emperor has a bonus given to the AI at the beginning. So it's it's a big jump to let the computer have an advantage to start off with.
That's cool, man. That's really exciting news. As a casual,
yeah,
and a casual Civ fan is still someone who puts hundreds of hours into it.
Yeah, right. That's the weird part about the game.
I've only played 5, and I've put at least like 300 into it.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to pick it up now. $30. I mean, the $1 an hour, it clears it easy if you're into strategy games. If you couldn't get it for, what would you actually put a monetary value on the game at?
With all the DLC?
Yeah.
Honestly, I personally would value the whole package at a minimum of $150.
Yeah.
Just because of the sheer amount of content that you get. Mm-hmm. The game, the 2 DLC like expansion packs for it, and then all of the extra civs that they tack on there, each one has value. There's not a single one that's bad.
I mean, we built Genevieve's machine
so that I could play this.
around playing Civ, right? Like
Well,
if you were
fine,
like, if you were like, okay, you have to pay $50 for the game, but it only runs on this $350 console, and it's only going to run Civ, I'd probably save up to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
It'd still be worth it because if you end up spending $400, you would definitely be playing at least 400 hours.
400 hours. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Fuck it, dude. All right. Thank you very much for that review. Did anybody have anything that they want to throw out there before we go to the Steam sale?
I'd like to point out something about my car, which I forgot to mention earlier.
Okay.
Yes, your brand new car.
Yeah.
The Ford
Escape.
okay.
Yeah.
Are you robosexual for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we figured. You didn't
So
say it.
this is a thing that is happening more and more. Thank you, Elon. Right. So when the Teslas came out, they were the first company that you could basically control your entire car with an app on your smartphone. I know other manufacturers have done this as well. However, at least Ford and maybe some others make it free. There are some that charge, and it's a subscription fee too. So it's like $20 or $30 a month to be able to control your car from your phone. But I can, from my smartphone, start and stop the engine, unlock and lock the car. I can check the gas. I can check the mileage on it, the engine thing. It's got a whole app where you can it tracks. It's linked up to your car, so it'll read the odometer and be like, you need this, this, and this, and you can check it off and be like, yeah, I got all this shit. They make it owning it very easy.
Are you worried about Hell Dogs, secret agents taking over control of your car and crashing into a tree?
Yes. It's a risk I'm willing to live with.
Oh, okay.
I trust the lane keeping technology. Anyway,
there's a binary. There's a there's one variable. It's stay in lane, true, false. They can go in. They take the false. It's just fucking just crashing through the wall. No lanes, never.
Yeah. But yeah, one of the things that I'm really looking forward to in the winter is you can schedule a time for your car to start every day. So I can, let's say I want to go to work at 7:30 in the morning. I can schedule it to turn on for 7:25. I don't even have to think about it. It will automatically turn on when I walk outside. My car will be on, and it will be warm inside when I walk in, because the temperature will automatically adjust to the temperature outside, like the AC system or heating system. Some manufacturers charge for this technology. If you are buying a new car, it's honestly worth it. Probably. I love it already, especially on a day where it's super fucking hot out, like it has been recently. And I have to, let's say I don't get to work early and I have to park not underneath the garage where I'm in the shade, and my car I know is going to be 1,000,000 degrees. I just turn it on when I get up from my desk, and by the time I get out there, it's nice and cool.
Is there a range for it, or is it?
No, because it's over the internet.
It's okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm. It's been the idea, the ability to lock it and unlock it has been around for a while. I think I remember 5 or 6 years ago, a couple of commercials for it. Tesla was the first company to implement all of the rest of the technology, and only a few others have added it in there. But I wanted to point out that is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess now that you mention it, it's key technology. Even the fobs that you just carry around with you are kind of outdated technology, since we all have smartphones now.
Yeah.
Might as well just do that. All right, anybody else? Liesler?
No.
Okay. Jacob? No. Genevieve?
No.
All right, everybody. We're going to catch you on the flip side for that Steam sale. Steam sale, Steam sale, Steam sale, Steam cell. Steam cell. Steam cell. Steam cell.
Steam cell.
All right. I think we're good. That was a really good teamwork moment. Okay. Let's see. Jake, tell us what's going on here, buddy.
There are things here.
There are.
Battalion 1944 Ostfront, Eastern Front, first-person shooter, World War II, $13 and change. I'll take a quick look at it because I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about any of these games.
Yeah, I mean, like World War II first-person shooters are kind of a dime a dozen.
This looks like a straight COD clone.
Yeah.
Just outright. Doesn't look bad. Some of the POV stuff's slightly weird, but sharp-looking environments, sharp-looking models, but
Run
it's
like goobers.
just a
Every
clone.
other video game. Get it out.
It's-
Game
it's-
character ever.
It's just a clone of Modern Warfare, but in World War II.
All right, great.
We'll skip that for a second. X-Morph Defense. Looks like a strategy game of some type with some highly generic
Tower defense.
cover
Yeah.
art.
One
Yeah.
genre I've never gotten into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like some of them.
Wow,
There was a few I
so
played a
don't
lot.
Watch a streamer.
These look like fucking Autobots.
Yeah, it looks like a Transformers sort of style.
Transformers versus
Apparently I can't go back. That's exciting. This
Floating
one.
Transformer face versus generic white general guy.
Evo Championship Series. Do either of you?
Show me
any
what
of
you
you-
got.
The floating heads.
Yes.
Oh, these are like fighting games.
Yeah, Soul Calibur 6, Tekken 7,
Mortal Kombat.
all around the $20 mark.
I mean,
Street Fighter 5.
so we've talked about Dragon Ball FighterZ many times before and how it's a pretty good game. I have heard that both Mortal Kombat and Soul Calibur are very good as well. I'm not a fan of fighting games. Mortal Kombat I've heard specific praise about because that is newer. $51. It's not huge sale, but
They must have done an improvement because it's mixed overall, but recent it's mostly positive.
I'd like to look at what Melty Blood is.
Okay.
Well, what's that?
It's called Melty Blood.
There it is,
Second
the
one
middle.
down.
It's-
No, keep.
Yeah,
yeah.
some 80%
Oh,
off.
it's a puzzle game, isn't it?
80% off at $5.
It's an episode within a series.
An anime 2D
Oh.
fighter.
The final
What?
episode of the
Great
series.
soundtrack. Here we go. Oh, she's got that anime hair.
It's just an
Developed
anime
by
game.
Okay,
French
yeah, I was
bread.
about to say the developer though.
French bread.
French
looks
hyphen bread.
terrible.
All
This
caps.
animation is really.
It's
It's-
hardly animation.
it's
It's,
a-
more like.
It's like a sparsely animated comic sort of
Yeah.
Jesus
style.
Christ, Genevieve.
Yeah, it's just
I
another
just wanted to see it because it's called Melty Blood.
another anime game. Okay, so a bunch of fighting games are on sale. What's this? Legion TD2 looks like a strategy game. Competitive. Yeah, tower defense.
What is the tower defense game?
Yeah, there's kind of a weak showing this week here, Steam.
Yeah.
Board games weekend. Let's take a
This I'm excited
gander.
about. Axis and Allies online. Yo, that is a game I heard a lot of good stuff about as a board
Yeah.
game.
What is it?
It's an old board game. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give it a try.
Official adaptation of the very classic of the classic board game. Strategize your way to victory as the UK, Soviet Union, US, Germany, and Japan, Second World War, etc. But let's see some gameplay here. Video, early access, $18, 10% off.
Early access.
Ugh, if it was $10, I'd give it a try. I don't like that price point, especially with 108 mixed reviews.
I'm seeing lots of map work and some cartoony.
I feel like it's like a different kind of Risk.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled.
Like,
it is. It's very similar to
less
Risk.
features and-
Slay the
Blood
Spire.
Bowl for $5, 75% off. That's worth $5.
Yes. Oh,
You-
yes.
It's like humans versus orcs football.
Oh my god. I want this like as a skin, I guess, for NFL Blitz.
I mean, you could just play this.
That too.
But yeah, this
I hope it
is
does goofy though.
this is American football, but fantasy mondoos and weapons,
And if you get to
AKA
kill people,
my
I guess.
aka my preferred version of football.
There's vampires. Oh my word.
I'm gonna listen. You're at strike two, Genevieve. First off, you picked that goofy game. Second
I
off,
wanted to see what
Second off, you stomped all over Jake's punchline. One more,
Sorry.
and we're going to defenestrate you, okay?
Oh, we're gonna what?
Defenestrate you.
That's a word.
Straight out the
Better do it.
window.
You better.
All right.
What if we de-overate?
Ooh,
Oh.
yikes. Okay, we're almost through this.
What
shit.
is East Shade?
Okay.
all jumped on.
Wait, what?
That-
East Shade.
This looks pretty.
Does it look
Give me
pretty?
the pretty.
You are a traveling painter. You are Bob.
Watch it be a
You-
fucking tower defense.
You are Bob Ross. You must defend your paintings from
Bob Ross Simulator.
happy little trees.
Oh my gosh, you really do go around and paint.
Yeah. Okay. So exploring the island of East Shade, capture the world on canvas using your artist's easel. Talk to the inhabitants and learn about their lives. Make friends and help those in need. With paint, visit cities, scale summits, unearth mysteries, and discover forgotten
So
places.
what do you
Very
actually do?
positive.
I don't understand.
Similar to games you've played, Fallout 4.
You do go around and meet people. And
You
make
do
friends.
you do talk and you explore. So sure, why not?
You exist. You exist in both these games.
How is this $15?
It's gotta be.
I mean, it's
What's
very
actual
pretty
game?
looking, so someone put work into it.
yeah.
I hope this is like a horror game, like that they don't tell you about. I
I just don't get what the actual game is.
That was a monkey person.
That
That was a
Was it?
goddamn
Didn't see
Planet
it.
of the Apes.
Well, it's a fantasy world.
Oh yeah, I guess I missed that
I
part.
mean,
You're on an island.
okay, it looks like a very, very, very casual sort of game.
And it is
I imagine
$15 on sale.
if you take different drugs, that's probably a good one.
different
You
drugs.
can do that.
Also Grand Theft Auto 5 is on sale for $15.
That wasn't
If
there
you-
the first time I scrolled through these. $15, GTA 5. If you haven't played it yet, just do it. It's
Yeah,
really-
just buy it. It's really
There's only
good.
2 pages I can see. So
Yeah.
let's hit Snail Games.
Snail Games USA publisher sale. I'm not aware of anything by these guys.
Pixar.
Dinosaurs.
Fear the Night, Dark Light, more Dark Light. I guess it's a series of theirs. What else we got?
Ark.
Japanese character game. Wushu Chronicles with a description in not English.
Wushu.
Ark Park, Ark Survival, Ark Survival, Ark Survival, Ark Survival, Dark and Light, and Fear the Night, and Dark and Light, and Pixar, and Ark Survival, and Ark.
You know, this is one of those things where you might find a gem. You might find a depth level gem in here. If you recall, we found depth. We're like, that looks dumb.
What's this?
Yeah,
Then it was
Outlaws of the Old
$5,
West.
and it
that
was
could be
fucking
good.
lit.
Mixed
Got a-
reviews.
Got an early access game, $14.
What's this
Outlaws of the Old West.
Survival MMO next.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the dinosaur game?
What's
There's a couple of them.
Where's the
Do
dinosaur? I don't
Ark
see
Park.
this
It's
one.
the third one over.
Doo-doo.
Ark Park.
Ark Park, engage in close encounters, promise peace through a series of theme park attractions.
it's
and a group of
Jurassic
adventurous
Park.
friends that witness dinosaurs roam the wild. Should definitely not a ripoff of Jurassic Park.
Nope.
Definitely not.
It's very cinematic.
Oh, look.
It's me when I wake up.
Oh, it's a deer.
An elk.
What the
Wait,
fuck?
that's not a dinosaur. Oh, that's one. Wait, what?
Summer 2018.
Requires a virtual world
Oh,
reality
shit, it's
headset.
Avatar in Jurassic Park.
Oh my god.
This
We don't-
guy's riding around pterodactyls.
None of us have
Okay.
VR, so fuck this
Oh,
noise.
it's a VR game?
Yeah.
Oh.
Damn it.
Lame.
What's Park Fight? Bottom right,
Park
free. It's
Park
DLC. Oh fuck
Dark
that.
Light?
Dark light.
Dark light.
Park
have-
fight.
I don't
Dark
have my
light.
glasses on.
their font is very unclear.
This is a sexy purple octopus head lady. So
Shard
It
of
requires
Fate.
It looks like
this.
Carrigan.
dark and light. Now available.
Sandbox survival RPG. Center world dominated by powerful elemental forces.
looks
Finding your
fun.
way in a meticulously crafted world featuring breathtaking landscapes and a wide variety of mythical creatures. Limited shadows of craft built in unlock as fight the Mondus.
So
Mixed
the
reviews.
cover art
Cool.
is like a dragon snake looking thing.
It's
Yeah.
a fantasy sandbox
New
survival
free
RPG.
DLC Shard of Faith.
Oh, it's an owl. Oh, this art looks
How much?
nice.
How much is it?
What was it? Christ.
Early access.
$11.69.
$11.69.
That looks fun.
Could be.
All right. This
Lots
is-
of. I mean, I'm just gonna say right now, my pick is GTA 5. I have no interest in really anything else.
Same.
All right.
I think Dark and Light was cool.
I think it could be if it were my speed.
Yeah.
Genevieve, you want to make your pick?
I think if anything, I would have to go with this stupid Bob Ross simulator painting game because I want to see what the fuck is actually going on.
God bless you.
Aside from it being a beautiful looking game, I want to know why it's still... Actually, it came out this year, I think, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, $15 doesn't quite seem worth it, but I'm going to go with it.
I think I'm going to poke around in the snail mail and find some cheap old game. See if I like it. You know, I'll go dumpster diving here.
In any case, a bit of a weak showing this week, but you know, you have your ups and downs.
Yeah, you know what? I want to tell that chubby guy who runs Steam, get your shit together, you fucker. Gabe Newell. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us again. I hope you liked our super informed prediction of the gold digging trends in the future, titty streamers, rock trees, everything else. Thanks to Frank and Liesler for coming back on the show. Thanks to Jake for just being so wonderful with that t-shirt, running the whole show. Thanks to Genevieve and thanks to me for hosting. I got to tell you, you guys, you're the reason you do this. You're the ones who listen. Blah, 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 blah. Cock 'em, lock 'em, and rock 'em, baby. Pew, 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 pew.
Bye, Bill's dad.